And what you just heard was the WWF, I guess, intro theme of Dick Slater. That is the NWA Wrestler Spotlight that we'll be discussing later in the show. I am your host, JD. Welcome to the Red Leaf Retrocast, episode 40, titled Natural Progression, 5-star Super J fan. As always, a conglomeration of all the shows we're going to be discussing here today. It has been a rambunctious, crazy last couple weeks for me. Sorry for this episode coming out a little later than the usual, exactly 2 weeks, but here I am regardless. Lots of shows, work's been busy, bowling's been crazy. Just got a lot on my plate. I did end up getting all of the wrestling I wanted to watch done just for this episode, and I even got a little shout-outs to make, such as go check out Red Leaf Retrocast, Anime and Retro Gaming Edition, and of course the Modern Gaming Edition with the new segment for the monthly cast of my mom talking with me about a game of the month that we got to try out / play. So go check all that out. And of course, our sister podcast conglomeration site, the Anime Radicals, just did an episode over the Arc 1 of Fire Emblem Three Houses, the big hit game on the Nintendo Switch that came out this summer. Go check out Anime Radicals and everybody that's associated with the Conglomeration podcast. That's Brains Trash Panda, Frigimon Fanatic, BCom and company over at Nerdum and Other Nonsense podcast, and many others. Hopefully more to join. If I forgot someone, then I apologize. But this is Red Leaf Wrestlecast edition. Let's get going here with a little rundown of the agenda. We got some NXT thoughts, Riptide, Bodyslam. Yes, we're going back to Denmark. Dragon Gate. We got the weekly wrestling recap with my mom. She's here back yet again for the second straight episode talking beyond wrestling of my experience. MLW, of course. And then starting in the next cast, AEW. Very excited for that. We got our Wrestler Spotlight Dick Slater, as mentioned before. Got All Japan Women Classics, Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix to the halfway point. The next episode will be the second half and the finals. To make that more exciting, there's just too much Stardom to talk about in just one cast. Otherwise, I'd end up talking about only Stardom. Maybe that's not a bad thing. WXW just had their annual fan event. Progress had its Natural Progression series. New Japan finally put up the Super J Cup, and they had their Destruction Tour. And then finally rounding out with WCW, not Nitro for this cast. We reached another pay-per-view. That's Road Wild 1998. So stay tuned to the end of that one. As usual, if you're only here for a few of them, the timestamps are in the description of every episode. So go listen to what you want. Hopefully I have covered something that you wanted to listen to. Let's get this thing started. I'm going to talk right away about the New Japan show I went to last night. It was the Fighting Spirit Tour here in the United States. They did Boston on Friday. They're doing, I believe, New York tonight and Philly on Sunday. Maybe I have those two backwards. But basically, it's all building towards the Okada-Sonata IWGP Heavyweight title match. And Ibushi defending his G1 victory rights for a title shot at Wrestle Kingdom against Evil. Everything else was pretty by the book of what a New Japan show is. It was in Lowell, Massachusetts, or just outside Boston. Packed house, cool balcony setup. I really liked seeing the event there. It was very unique. It felt like a New Japan show. It definitely fit the environment. The fans were utterly fantastic. Lots of fun. The merch line was out the frickin' door. By the time I got my merchandise, the Jay White shirt was sold out. Bullet Club stuff was sold out. Kota Ibushi stuff was sold out. So I ended up getting a New Japan shirt, red with blue and white lettering. Very sweet. This is 1972 on the back. And then I got a New Japan athletic towel. I did get to see Goto, shake hands with him. Cool dude. Very chill. He's, like, as tall as me, kind of? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Got to see Mikey Nichols, TJ Perkins. I saw Amazing Red live for the first time in like 15 years since his TNA days. Not enough Amazing Red in the ring. But he got to team with... Who did he team with again? Don't remember. The matches that stood out was 100% obviously the main event. It was the trio of Tanahashi, Ibushi, and Okada all teaming up against LIJ, Naito, Evil, and Sonata. Just a crazy hot match. You just feel this. This was the coolest thing about the show, though. As every match got higher and higher on the card, you just felt the star power get so much bigger, and the crowd reacted as such too. But the match I liked the most outside the main event, just because of the pure star power and how they worked in the ring, and Tanahashi winning on a roll up against Naito was quite shocking. It was actually the IWGP Tag Team Title match. God, who are, by the way, the coolest motherfuckers on the planet, and no one can tell me different. They are a cool duo, despite being heels. It was their defense against Roppongi 3K, the junior tag team, really doing their best against the heavyweights, and it was more or less a by-the-book tag match, but very exciting to see live. It was the finish that brought it all together. Hit the Magic Killer on Roppongi 3K, Yo kicks out of it, and then he does a series of near falls, 3 of them, and the crowd just goes crazy. I was on my feet. I stood for the entire tag team and main event, and after 3 near falls, out of nowhere, Tama Tonga hits a gun stun and just lackadaisically pins him. Crazy good. It was a flash finish. It was awesome. And then there was my 2 kind of marking out wrestler fandom moments of the night. The first came where I was like, oh, I get to see a Chase Owens match. You get to see him eat a pin. This will be exciting. It was Chase Owens and Jado. Old Jado can't do very much of anything at this point. They were taking on the Rock and Roll Express tag team I saw win their match against Butcher and the Blade at American Rana and Beyond Wrestling a few months ago, this summer. Rock and Roll Express was so over, and they were so just fun to watch. It's what makes you like being a wrestling fan. And Chase Owens was just the biggest dick heel. He ends up, Jado gets the stick, hits Ricky Morton. Ricky Morton, in fact, does a suicide dive and a Hurricane Rana in this match. Crazy. Hits Ricky Morton, package pile driver. Chase Owens does not, in fact, eat a pin, but gets the pin win. So I'm just devastated as a fan. I can't believe what I'm witnessing. And the very next match, it's a trios match with like Ishii, Yoshihashi, and I forget the other guy. They were up against Jay White. Yeah, Jay White. Kenta. And whoever Yoshihashi be, I can't even remember right now. I'm just too devastated. Wasn't Yujiro. Some guy lower on the totem pole. The point is, Yoshihashi then got the pin. So, obviously, I'm in Bizarro World. I can't believe what I'm witnessing. Wrestling's dead to me. Rock and roll died this night. Great show. Long drive. Took me 2 hours traffic just to get there. Almost an hour and a half to get home. But it was so worth it. I probably, because I was only 12 rows from the ring, I think as an experience-wise, I still think G1 Supercard was the better show as a whole, especially with the New Japan matches that I saw with Ibushi Naito, Tanahashi's Sabre, the main event Okada, Jay White singles action. That was the better show, but as a wrestling fan and just the experience of it all, I actually enjoyed this more. Maybe it's because I'm coming off fresh in my mind. But moving on, got some thoughts over Kofi Kingston as champion before WWE SmackDown heads to Fox. So I put out the question in a number of Discords, wrestling Discords, and on Twitter. What has Kofi Kingston's best defense been? And there was immediate confusion with this question. I thought it was pretty simple to ask. Defense. He has the title and he's defended it, right? Well, everyone said his match against Daniel Bryan at Mania. I go, that wasn't a defense. He won the title. That is easily his best match, but that wasn't his defense. Because to me, what makes a champion great isn't the moment he wins the title. It's how he keeps it. How is this champion kept the title, and do you want to continue seeing him being the champion? Much like Okada. You see Okada have a title defense, and you go, holy shit, that was good. You don't mind, it's always exciting to see a new champion, a championship title change. But the reign is what matters. What was missing in AJ Styles' title reign were these good defenses. So I asked the question, which match was Kofi Kingston's best? And it was pretty much a consensus of, well shit, now that we think about it, he really hasn't had a good defense, especially on pay-per-view. His best one was the consensus of this triple threat match of, I think it was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, or Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan, something of that trio nature. And that was just a regular TV match cut with multiple commercials. And that gets you thinking, okay, a title champion, is his legacy is marked by A, good matches, being booked strong, and the stories involving those matches. Well, what has those stories with Kofi Kingston been? Dolph Ziggler comes back, gets a title match because he came back. And had a joke-filled cage match, a nothing match in Saudi Arabia that I hope nobody watched. Kevin Owens turned heel for the sake of turning heel just to face off against Kingston at Money in the Bank. I saw that match. Nobody cared. It fell flat. I was there live. Then he gets pumped into a feud with Randy Orton for a hot shot, no reason other than he's Randy Orton. They go to a flat DQ, no contest finish at SummerSlam, their second biggest event of the year in WWE. Then he had a rematch that I guess you can consider passable for some fans, but it wasn't defining. So that's the big problem with Kofi Kingston's reign. It's just there. It exists. Yes, he's been booked strong. That can't be denied. That's great. A champion should be booked strong. A champion should be strong. Nobody denies that. That's great. That's expected, right? But there's no defining moment. And I just don't think Kofi Kingston has that power to stay at the top. Could be another Jinder Mahal situation where as soon as he loses the title, he's gone. In Kingston's case, at the very least, he has the New Day to go back and lay upon. And then they'll just probably go back into tag team throwing pancakes mode. And he's still doing that, so that's my thoughts. I think Kingston's reign has been incredibly bland, disappointing. Just no news generation, just nothing. But let me play this. That was just my thoughts. It's been eating at me for a while. Let's play the first drop. Talked about New Japan Fighting Spirit. Had a lot of fun. Talked about my Kofi Kingston thoughts. Oh, and by the way, The Fiend has to fucking win at Hell in a Cell. Otherwise, what's the point? And I fully expect him to, short thought on Rey Mysterio. WWE has never treated Mysterio right. It's only because the fans make him bulletproof is why he's such an untouchable star and legend. So on Monday, when he has his hotshot title match, even though he lost to Andrade so badly in a 2 out of 3 falls match in August that he was contemplating retirement, in storyline, of course. The point is, the story's there. That's the story. He gets put in a random 5-way, not Andrade, because wins and losses don't matter in WWE, so why should I care? But I can't help but care, because that's what wrestling should be. He gets a title match on Monday, and he'll probably get his fingers shoved down his throat. Seth Rollins will cry in a corner, just like he deleted his Twitter, and we'll move on to Hell in a Cell. So the Fiend better fucking win. Alright, drop time. I gotta play this shit. Fuck. Johnny Gargano, where are you? There you are.
Yeah, you'll never tear me apart.
Yes, NXT USA Live Episode 1. I watched it. I was super curious. It was built up to be a good card. And this is the new era of NXT. It is now on USA Live, or at least the first hour in this case, because, you know, the deal was struck so fast they forgot about Suits being on TV. But regardless, I thought it was a fun TV show. At the end of the day, that's what it's supposed to be, a fun TV show. The wordage is already there with a lot of commentary, so I end up muting a lot of it. I don't like hearing, you know, a match get broken up by a commercial break and they just say things like, oh, it rolls on. This match will continue. You know, the wordage is bad. Just say, we have to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back. You know, make it simple. So really fun, quick-spotted women's four-way to earn a title shot against Shayna Baszler was first. It was Mia Yim, Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, or Lo Shirai according to WWE's trademarks, and Candice LeRae. It was fun. LeRae wins via Lionsault, and you know, this is... I'm glad LeRae got her chance to shine. Why is she in this match and not Rhea Ripley? Rhea Ripley trounced on the scene with force. She's a star. LeRae lost clean in the middle of the ring at the last takeover to Io Shirai. Mia Yim lost clean at the one before that. To me, if anything, Shirai earned her way into a three-way. Belair has the right because she's strung together wins and enough time has passed. And Rhea Ripley got screwed out of her shot. So in my mind, it should have been obvious. Rhea Ripley comes in, beats Belair in a one-on-one situation. Then you can have a LeRae Yim match, singles. And then, you know, if you want LeRae in the picture, then make that a three-way. You know, Ripley, LeRae, and Baszler. And then you can have LeRae either pin Baszler, and Baszler moves on to Raw or SmackDown, or you have Ripley pin LeRae, or something, some other combination. You know, there's a million things you could do. But good for LeRae, she wins. She looked good. I think she was the star of the match, and that's kind of the point since she won. And Baszler and her goon squad, you know, stared her down. Then we moved on. Trevor Lee squashes, I believe it was Sean Maluda, just double stomped him with his goofy top hat. He's got kind of a goofy Hangman Page presence to him. Very curious to what Trevor Lee is going to do, because I don't need to see him doing arm locks and arm bars and leg locks when all he does is stomp a guy in the end. You know, the WWE system is already infecting Trevor Lee. Because I just saw him in Progress, and he was a tool, and it was a fantastic tool. North American title match, Roderick Strong defeats Velveteen Dream in it says 22 minutes, 28 seconds. I think we only saw like 10 minutes of it from the commercial breaks, because it had to roll on. Look, I don't need a million suicide dives just to go to commercial break, and then when they come back, the other guy's winning all of a sudden. Good God, it irritates me to no end. Hopefully AEW doesn't pull that shit. That would equally irritate me. You know, I really liked the build to this where Roderick Strong hates his couch, you know, Rick James style. I don't like you, I don't like your couch. I'm very confused that Pete Dunne didn't get this opportunity to win the title one-on-one because Strong lost to Pete Dunne clean before the three-way at the last takeover. Yeah, just because... I don't watch everything that WWE has to offer. To me, it's impossible. And it's very overexposure problem. I do keep up with the news and what's happened. And I catch a match every now and again that piques my interest. Some things are just not worth talking about. But regardless, Strong and Dream have a good match. And Strong wins, thus fulfilling the prophecy that Undisputed Era in 2019 will hold all the gold. And it must be noted that Roderick Strong was the only one to win via interference from the Undisputed Era. So, hopefully, that plays into a story later down the line, with Strong getting kicked out in some way. He's the weakest link. We can go a number of ways with that. Then we got Pete Dunne defeats Arturo Ruas in 6 minutes. in probably the least WWE style match I've seen in forever. It was how I could describe catch joint wrestling versus lots of fight techniques, like judo, taekwondo, capoeira, that kind of stuff. I like Arturo Ruas. He really reminds me of some of these old WCW guys from the late 90s with big-time gimmicks of different fighting styles. And on paper, Ruas would have the advantage, but because it's wrestling and Pete Dunne snaps fingers and joints, he's not used to that because it's illegal. At least that's the narrative I took from this. It was fun. This was, you might be surprised, my favorite match on this entire card. Xylee defeats Aaliyah in less than 2 minutes. Garbage. Walter and Imperium kicked the shit out of some 90s stereotype dude, which I really enjoyed. Let me rephrase. Imperium kicks the shit out of this dude. Then Walter makes his grandiose entrance because he can't be bothered to fuck about with this 90s hip-hop douchebag. He says his ring comp shtick, the ring is sacred. You will not have this. We are here to kick the shit out of all of you. We are Imperium. Kind of situation, this thick Austrian accent. Kushida, the music comes out, makes goofs out of Imperium, but not Walter, runs away smiling. Says next week he will get 2 partners to take on Imperium, not Walter, by the way. It turned out to be Breezango. So WWE is really hitting it home of this whole Imperium and the ring is sacred, just like Ring Kampf, but putting them up against guys that kind of joke about in the ring. I don't know if this is good for Kushida. I mean, it makes sense for the narrative, but not where Kushida should be. Cruiserweight title #1 contendership match. I'm always for these matches. Lio Rush defeats the very game Oni Lorcan in a great 10-minute affair. My second favorite match of the night. If I was to pick my favorite moment, it was definitely Walter and Imperium kicking the shit out of the dude. And then we had a street fight that went 5 minutes to a no contest of Killian Dane and Matt Riddle to set up another street fight for no fucking reason. Imperium was just playing cards outside for no reason. That made no sense. And then a whole brawl happens because it's a brawl, which is interesting because Beyond Wrestling's season finale had a brawl with all the babyfaces standing tall. Of course, we didn't know that season 2 was going to happen at that time. That was a fun ending. This is a beginning, and it just felt very WWE. What do we got to do? Well, we got to have a brawl, or we got to have a 5-way, or we got to have a battle royal. It's always, or in this case in 2019, got to have a gauntlet match. It's always the same thing. Just felt like it was the sake for sake things. So yeah, I'll just quickly move on from there. NXT USA Live, I might catch an episode here or then. I might catch a match here or then. I'm definitely still going to watch the takeovers going forward, but my time is going to be devoted to AEW on Wednesday. Well, on those nights I'm able to watch. I bowl on Wednesday nights, so it won't be live. But you'll get my mom and I's thoughts on AEW going forward here on the Red Leaf Retrocast. Alright, where am I? Yes, moving on. There won't be little drops here for a little bit. I don't have drops set for Riptide or Bodyslam. So Riptide's next. Riptide is the interesting camera work promotion over in the UK. A nice atmosphere, you might say. Well, they had their June 9th show titled Pride of Brighton went up for free on YouTube, on their YouTube channel, Riptide. And I watched the whole event. There were a couple matches that stood out to me. One match in particular was Curtis Chapman. The Pride of Brighton is basically a medal of some kind for Riptide. Think of it as their mid-card title, and they had a tournament to win this thing. So Curtis Chapman versus the OJMO. 2 very hot stars. OJMO is Progress Attack Pro, I believe. Curtis Chapman's Rev Pro, and they kind of meet in Riptide. Riptide is this big up-and-coming UK scene promotion. Occasionally you get the big stars from other ones like Pac and so forth. This was a real fun match. Curtis Chapman does end up winning. Not as technical as I hoped from the two, because especially with OJMO's finisher being a half crab. He's the master of the half crab. Curtis Chapman's very technical, very much in the Zack Sabre Jr. realm where it's a lot of mat wrestling. Well, this one turned out to be mostly high-flying indie type stuff. So, if they have a match in the future, I hope it's the technical, but this was really fun. Rather enjoyed the promos before and after the match from the two, specifically. Curtis Chapman's using, like, Cage Match to look up stats on his opponents. OJMO's, cutting a promo about where he came from, how everyone's, like, dead or in jail kind of situation. He's out in a fence where there's a bunch of locks, saying, he's not going to be locked up or locked to one thing or another. They were all wearing David Starr independent shirts too. But after it was all said and done, Chapman gets a keyboard after a nut kick, smashed it over Oku's head and pins him. Cuts a good promo after that, talking about he told us so. And then just real quick, Paul Robinson defeats Cara Noir in a 13-minute match. It's exactly what you would expect out of the two. Good back and forth. Now on to, I gotta play some sort of drop for Bodyslam. I can't talk about Bodyslam and not play a drop. What am I gonna play here? I really gotta think of something here. You know what? Lucky Kid has been in Bodyslam. I can play his music. So I'm gonna do that. Yes, Lucky Kid. I gotta make my notes. Always just in case. So, Bodyslam Pro Wrestling out of Denmark. A very easy to watch promotion. They do have English subtitles over on WXW Now you can watch. I believe they're also on Independent Wrestling TV now. You can watch some of their past shows. Well, this show, The Flying Trunks, from May 4th, 2019, went up. I forget the name of the town, but it's Rick the Prick Dominic, the champion's hometown. I think it's Odense. I believe that's the name of the city that this took place in. Night starts off with very nice suit-wearing Rick the Prick Dominic, talking about his 16-year journey to get to the title. And then Olisander immediately comes out with Emeritus holding his goofy book, talking about how Rick only tells lies, falsehoods, referencing him negging on his own words from cashing in his ecstasy of gold, because he originally called his shot and he said, well, I'm a prick, basically. I'm cashing in now. How the Lion King is going to get his crown back. I quite like this. I did like also the line where Olisander talks about the author of, I believe it's The Little Mermaid, how everyone's very uneducated, so to say, even though they're in the town of the author of The Little Mermaid. What is his name? I think it's Alexander? Don't remember. Then Michael Finn comes out and icing them with his words of steel. His sick rhymes, you might say. Calls Olisander and his goons fuckboys. Quite like that. He respects Rick but doesn't like him. Quite like that. Basically spits fire about how Rick took 16 years to get to the top, while Finn only took a few after his debut, and he held the title for 2 years. So I loved all this. Everyone made total sense. Olisander backs out of a match starting that second. Says he needs to prep. Good little heel move there. Smart move from the cult leader. Finn looks strong. I would have liked to see a little bit more promo from Rick Dominic, because he's the champion. Get me a little more interested in the champion rather than the two guys gunning for his title, since he's such a new champion. Just my thoughts on the matter. Regardless, good opening segment. Everyone said their things. They got out of there quickly enough, and then we went on. And just to concentrate on some of the more stories of this show, we got a singles match of Tank taking on Adonis. Tank is in a crisis with his tag partner out from the bottle attack, so Tank is really contemplating what he does next. Does he stick with tag team wrestling, going for the tag titles, trying to get those back? Or does he go off on a singles run to get the Bodyslam Championship, because it's been so long since he's done that? and him talking like this and his gray hair really gets you to know like what a veteran he is, and he's in his crisis of what he should do next at this stage in the twilight of his career situation. Then we have our young lad Adonis coming to the ring. He squirts white liquid in his face. Commentary then tells me very much so that he's drunk all the time. So, not too high on Adonis with this whole drunk squirting questionable white liquids in his face on his entrance. But anyways, there was a good story told in the ring. Regardless, I really liked the Tank promo prior that really got me invested in what he's going to do. Don't care about Adonis. He's just kind of the guy in the way on the road blocking the path situation. So Tank gets beaten down looking for a tag partner, overcomes the lack of single stamina, and he wins via the chokeslam in the end. If this leads to a singles run from Tank now, I am all for it. It makes sense with the story being told. I'm very curious to see how this plays out. If we can get a number one contender match, Tank versus Finn, or Tank versus Olisander, or Rick if he loses the title here, great. Fantastic. Singles match, Tank does win, by the way, via the chokeslam. Singles match, Captain Bodyslam defeats the up-and-coming young boy Eric Sable, or Zabel. I do like how Captain is spelled in Danish. It has the Kaptajn. I like that. Yeah, I speak German, so not the same, but pre-match promo of Sable I love this pre-match promo of Sable because I have zero interest in Sable before I saw this promo. He's telling how he trusts the super manager Zach White. He's helping him train. He's helping him knows what he eats, watches him around the clock. Zach White is going to get him to the top just like he did with Michael Finn. I get the strange sense that White is using the poor young lad. It's probably nothing, though. No big deal. Sable should trust him. Let's just say Sable has a ways to go in the ring still. So the whole manager aspect makes sense, right? Sable isn't all that great in the ring. He is very young. He's inexperienced. He needs this veteran to get him better. Get him on top. So the finish is White basically costing him the match on a pin attempt. Captain Bodyslam gets the win. Singles match later in the show, Jurn Simmons defeats Fight Mula. A good WXW showcase match here. If this leads to Bodyslam WXW kind of talent exchanges, I am personally very much for this. Michael Finn going to WXW, Bobby Guns and company coming to Bodyslam. I would love that as a fan of the Central Euro Graps here. Then we had our main event, Bodyslam title 3-way match. Rick the Prick Dominic, our champion, defeats Michael Finn and Peter Olisander. Match goes 19 minutes. I do like that amount of time. Pretty standard 3-way for a while. And then Olisander causes a ref bump. Ooh, this is where it picks up, boys. Emeritus immediately hits the ring. And this is when the match does indeed pick up. Lots of good high action spots. Each guy had their control moments, if you will. Favorite spot was definitely Rick the Prick X-Factoring from the top of a ladder onto Olisander and Emeritus, as in the ladder went down and hit the two. Finn was no joke throughout this match, always factoring into both guys' offenses. In the end, after a Tower of Doom spot, Olisander gets 619'd by Rick. There's a little miscommunication here. Then Sunset German comboed by Finn and Rick, which is a cool little deal. They square off for a 1v1. Rick counters a corner Oz Cutter, Osprey style, with a devastating combat boot to Finn's back. A fantastic looking move. Finn looks like he breaks in half. Prick kick follows this move, pins the former champ, cementing him as champion that deserves it. A fantastic way to end the night. A good show overall. Rick pinning Finn, I think, was the right move in kayfabe turns. Rick's got to cement his title. who's better to cement the title reign than the guy who held the title for 2 years? You did beat Olesander, the chicken shit heel, already for the title. Got no issue with this. As a whole, this is my favorite full card Bodyslam show to date. Mostly because each match in the card had a purpose and had an intriguing story to tell. And as usual, I'm looking forward to the next Bodyslam show that goes up on WXW Now. I'm looking forward to it down the line. I believe a match in a church with nice stained glass is coming up. Maybe hopefully that will be the next one. Maybe that was this one, I just didn't notice. Regardless, next drop to play, moving on with the show. Might be a longer episode today, boys, so strap in. Let's get this going. R-E-D. R-E-D indeed. That was Pac's music. Or Pac? Pac. So 2 Dragon Gate shows. Not a big show. In this 2-week span, I watched Stormgate Day 1, September 11, 2019, and Stormgate Day 5, September 17th, 2019. They had a few matches on the card, and it's, of course, my workout show, so anytime I'm riding my bike or working out, I put on Dragon Gate. It really gets me pumped. Benkei defeats Yasushi Kanda in 2 minutes. Big enhancement match here. 6-man tag match. Red and Diamante defeat Kenichiro Arai, Ryo Saito, and Super Shisha in a 12-minute match. So Red's looking dominant still in the trios factors, as they should. I wasn't into Eita at first. I didn't think he was as good as a lot of people within Dragon Gate, but his character work is utterly fantastic. He's the best heel in Dragon Gate, bar none with me right now. We had the Open the Dream Gate title number 1 contendership battle royal, lasted 16 minutes. The guys involved were BB Hulk, Kai, Masaki Mochizuki, Kazuma Sakamoto, KZ, Shun Skywalker, and Takashi Yoshida. So no Yoshino, no Yamato, no Dragon Kid, none of the other big names. It was a lot of guys that Pac had beat. I did like BB Hulk, seeing BB Hulk in this, especially coming back from injury. Very strange to see how Dragon Gate does things. It's like they don't want to treat anyone stupid, so you have guys kind of hanging back, picking their spots, not rushing things. There's combos and tag maneuvers of people that aren't in the same faction. It's all people trying to use each other in different ways. Double pin attempts kind of situation. Much slower. It's intelligent wrestling. So I could see a lot of people not liking some things that Dragon Gate does, and this is a good example of that. Regardless, Masaki Mochizuki wins. I was thinking someone like KZ or Kai or even BB Hulk was going to be winning this match, but Masaki Mochizuki wins, so he's going to be the next opponent for our boy Benkei. I'm very interested. Open the Brave Gate title match, if you remember from the last podcast. Yosuke Santamaria attacked Susumu from behind to get the Brave Gate title match kind of situation, challenge him, he accepted. And I was not into this. It was 15 minutes of very much a lot of dragging. Susumu Yokosuka did the best he could to carry Santamaria around in this match. There was some good moments. I can't deny that. It was just too... I just can't get into the character of Santamaria. I get why she exists. I'm not sure what the proper gender term is for Santamaria, so forgive me. But Susumu retains. 15-minute match. And then, much like... this is something that's I witnessed twice now. And that is, Ultimo Dragon has officially signed with Dragon Gate. So, the story being told I'm having a lot of trouble keeping up with. Because in this one, it's Doyoshi and Yamato taking on Darkness Dragon, Dragon Kid, and Ultimo Dragon. I'll just skip right ahead to the next trios match that was on day 5. That was Maximum, taking on K-Ness, Ryo Saito, and Ultimo Dragon. All of Ultimo Dragon's matches are now going to no contests. And I'm not sure where this is leading to, because I'm not seeing any... I'm not seeing the crossover here and where it's leading to. So I'm just going to have to pay a little bit more attention, maybe to some details that's happening. Maybe we'll get somewhere. A singles match on day 5 was Bigar Shimizu taking on Koto Minoura. I really liked this 11-minute match. It felt like a TV match. A lot of these house shows Dragon Gate put on makes it feel like a TV match without the commercials. So, if you're looking for an alternative to Raw or SmackDown, and you want to see faction warfare and kind of chill and not worry about bullshit promos all the time, Dragon Gate's for you. I'm really into it on a relaxed basis. Tag team match, Mochizuki Dojo defeat the other members of Mochizuki Dojo. It's Keisuke Okuda and Yuki Yoshioka. They beat Hio Watanabe and Masaki Mochizuki. So, Masaki Mochizuki goes from winning a battle royal, he's the number 1 contender, to losing his tag team losing the match here. So I wonder where that's leading to. I don't like seeing people lose any match on their way to a title match. Ben-K and Skywalker continue their tag team losing ways, facing off against Diamante and Takashi Yoshida. So that's something to think about. Maybe some dissension between Shun and Ben-K, not having any alliance with anybody. And then we had our main event, an excellent trios match. Tribe Vanguard, that's BB Hulk, Kai, and Yamato, defeat the trio team of Eita, Sakamoto, and Kanda. 15-minute match. This is the best one I recommend. If you are Dragon Gate thirsty and you want a good trios match, this is the one for you. So Dragon Gate, got your number 1 contender. You got some interesting faction warfare developing here. See what happens with the Ultimo Dragon no contests. Simple enough, right, boys? Moving on. Play that next drop, JD. So talk to myself in the third person.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
NWA Spotlight. Here we are. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. NWA US Champion Spotlight continues to the 15th unique champion of the NWA US title, going down the title holders list one by one till we get to, I guess, you know what? We'll stop at the end of WCW. That's what we'll do. Dick Slater, the 27th reign, beating Wahoo McDaniel to gain it. Dick Slater would reign for 129 days from December 14, 1983 to April 21st, 1984, losing eventually to Ricky Steamboat, of all people. Dick Slater, I know basically nothing about going into this. I knew basically nothing. As it turns out, I had seen Dick Slater many times prior, but he's easily forgettable, at least in my eyes. Upon further research, turns out that guys like Dusty Rhodes and who was the big booker in Mid-South? Bill Watts, Mid-South. Dick Slater, he was Mr. kind of reliable mid-carder that got a couple pushes in time kind of situation. That's the best I can put it. He didn't spend too long in any promotion. It was always like a year or two. He was mostly in Georgia Championship Wrestling throughout the 70s and early 80s until he started doing that 2 years in Mid-South and Mid-Atlantic and WWF. I end up watching, as I do. I try and, see a promo, how they were on the mic, what feuds they had. The best one I was found was when Dick Slater was a tag team with Bob Orton. And that went onto a feud with Ric Flair where they attacked Flair to try and quote-unquote end his career, and they used Dick Slater's pile driver, an illegal maneuver, as a way to quote-unquote hurt him. This was very much in line with the Harley Race bounty storyline that was going on with Ric Flair. So these two guys collected the bounty, and that would then see Harley Race defend against Ric Flair at a Starrcade, and that led to Orton and Slater facing off against Mark Youngblood and Wahoo McDaniel, the guy he beat for the U.S. title. So it all made sense. I watched a couple of those matches. I watched the tag team match, and I really liked the singles match with Ric Flair. No shock, a Ric Flair match being good. Very much always the other person was in control against Dick Slater. The better workers would carry him throughout matches, and then you basically tell him when to hit his spots. That's what I got out of it. But he was very Mr. Reliable, it seems. He had a Southern Rebel gimmick in WWF that didn't lead to much. He did have one match with Jake the Snake Roberts in the 80s. I did watch that one. And, you know, never got into Dick Slater one way or another. He shined a lot more in a tag team situation when he would have a better charismatic partner. He wouldn't be overexposed to moves when he was in the ring, etc. You know, it kind of goes along that line. So, not my favorite NWA US champion. He only held it the one time. So, just quickly moving on. Nothing else to say about Dick Slater. Just not exciting. And this is the point now where I will move over to talking with my mom about Beyond Wrestling's All Hands on Deck show, getting ready. It's kind of their, I guess, go-home show and go-into show of Uncharted Territory Season 2, and the Chikara show coming up, which I'm going to, the King of Trios tournament. My first solo Chikara show I'll be going to. I've only seen crossovers with Beyond. We're also talking MLW Fusion, episode 74 and 75, aka The War Chamber, 75. And when we come back, we'll move on with the rest of the show. Stay tuned. Alrighty, we're back on the show. Red Leaf Retrocast. It is Mama time.
That's funny.
Mom, you're back for your second episode.
Woo, 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 woo.
I bet you're super excited for it too.
I am, pretty much. Yeah.
What
getting
was
the hang
that
of things.
scream in the background?
Huh?
What is that scream in the background?
Oh my God, Psycho Cat. She wants it in the rooms that she's not allowed, which is all of them. I don't know what it is.
God.
She does it to get attention. So then she gets attention. Is she still screaming? I can't hear her.
If you listen closely, you can hear your cat scream in terror. Scream in want.
Psycho Cat.
So AEW starts next week. So in the next episode, we get to talk about AEW going forward.
Yeah, that's
That'll
pretty
be exciting.
cool. And I forgot, what does AEW stand for?
All Elite Wrestling.
All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah. It's first episode's in DC. The second episode I am going to is in Boston.
Ah, okay. And then why do they call it the Elite?
Oh, because that is their group name that they started on the a lot of different wrestling shows and New Japan in particular, and basically a bunch of these wrestlers got together and just started their own wrestling company. One thing led to another, and they got this big deal with TNT and the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay. So the names on the Elite, do we know them?
I'm very familiar with like everybody on the roster.
Why?
You,
Why are you
on the other
familiar
hand,
with them? Because they've been with MLW, or because some of them come actually from WWE, or what?
It's a mixture of everything. Some come from Japan. Some come from. There has been some that have shown up in MLW for a time. We're actually going to see when we get there, Jimmy Havoc. Remember that name coming up?
Okay.
He is from the UK scene, and he signed with All Elite Wrestling. So is MJF, whom I will talk about here in a little bit. So All Elite Wrestling, very exciting. We're gonna have to figure out a way to watch it, but we're definitely going to, and it's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
You probably would recognize they're gonna do a lot of things that I think you'll really enjoy besides the women's wrestling.
Are they doing that too in the AEW?
They have women's wrestling, but I know you don't like women's wrestling, but I am curious of your thoughts regardless.
Okay. I guess so.
Okay.
Do I have to talk about the women wrestlers? I really don't like talking about women wrestling.
It's gonna be an important part of the show to talk about.
Fine.
Your opinion matters, even if you don't like it.
Even if I don't want to have an opinion, you mean?
Oh.
How about that?
Okay, I can just say your opinion's wrong. How about that?
What?
What?
You're saying,
who said that?
What?
And there's a lot of people in AEW from the Beyond Wrestling. That's the local New England promotion. The show I went to on Sunday at the beach. Well, what the heck? How many wrestling companies are there? There's like a billion.
But what are the top?
But everyone,
let's talk the top. What are the top 4?
The top 4, I would say. Well, All Elite Wrestling is basically immediately one of the top 4 now, just because of their worldwide exposure, the talent there. The TNT deal is a very big aspect of it, so they're up there. WWE's number 1. There's no one close to it. New Japan Wrestling's number 2. And then, besides All Elite, the 4th one's kind of hard to say. Because everyone's kind of in the same boat of trying to make it, or get bigger, grow larger kind of situation. Mm-hmm. My personal opinion is probably MLW is number 4 right now.
For you, or for in general?
I mean, it's my opinion, but I think in general.
So, the events that I went with you, was that MLW?
That was Evolve, and they aren't even like the same thing anymore.
What happened?
They had a bunch of attendance issues. They basically struck a deal with WWE. And now it's basically become a kind of meet and greet WWE stars thing with wrestling to watch on the side.
Oh, well, and that's why you said that. Remember when we went and there was that one wrestler that I liked, I enjoyed, and
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, and he went with WWE, right? Is that the one who went with WWE?
Correct. Same guy.
Huh?
Yep. Yeah, it's the same guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that was quick, because that's only been a year since I last went to an event with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even less than a year, actually. It's less than a year.
Didn't we go to that show? No, we went to that show in July of last year, so it's more than a year.
Oh, really? Where did time go? Okay.
Yeah, where'd the time go? So I went to Beyond Wrestling presents All Hands on Deck. It took place in Westerly, Rhode Island, which is a really nice beach area. It's in the southern part of the state. And the event was on the literal beach at the Patty's Beach Club So they put the ring on the beach. They put some like guard ropes up, so the public beach goers wouldn't just walk into the event, kind of situation.
And
Anyone who bought a ticket,
that was in front of the an actual place, right? The beach club.
Well, it took place in the beach club.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And they got the one area where you were on the sand and everything. So I took my shirt off, my shoes and socks off, put my shirt back on later in the event because the temperature dropped to like 50 degrees.
Oh, geez. Well, you're on the water, it gets cool when the sun goes down.
It got cold. But when the sun was up, it was just amazing.
Well,
it was a great experience.
Day too.
Yeah, I got totally sloshed on a fishbowl. Just a giant drink.
Yeah, so that's why you didn't come to Delaware and see me. Nice.
I got the ticket after.
Oh, even more nice.
You. Yeah,
Thanks
more
a lot.
Nice. Well, you could have come to Rhode Island and gone to the beach with me.
I could have had I known about it before I made my plans.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So let me just run down kind of what happened at the show, because it was very, very entertaining. It was just, the way I can describe the show was, it's the conglomeration of what makes someone like wrestling.
Okay.
And it's the kind of event that will make a wrestling fan out of somebody.
Oh, fun.
So the first match was Chris Statlander, a woman mother.
What?
Yes. She was facing off against Alex Reynolds, a dickhead, if you will. He comes out with
minute.
like a...
She's fighting against a guy.
Yes.
Oh.
It was an intergender match.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Look,
That's
they
wrong.
are about as big as each other.
Oh, my God.
So it's fine. Alex Reynolds, let me describe this guy to you, because
Okay.
this really set the tone for how fun this event was going to be. Alex Reynolds is a bad guy. He comes out in a silk robe, and he walks real slow to the ring, and his entrance song is Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, what?
Like, I'll do it my way.
Oh, God.
So he's walking into the ring, Chris Statlander. Everyone loves Chris Statlander. I'm a big fan, too. Whole bowling team is actually named after her gimmick. Call ourselves the aliens.
Okay.
With the bowling name in front of it.
Okay.
So Alex Reynolds is walking real slow to the ring, and in the front row, because you can get standing side or you can get seats. On the seats side, there's two parents, and then like what must be a 5-year-old girl. I've seen her 5-6-year-old girl. Wow, it's really pouring outside all of a sudden. Anyways, there's a 5-6-year-old girl, and I've seen her before at quite a few shows.
Okay.
Right? The last show I recall was from a show in, I think it was April, where this big 6'7" dude, Josh Briggs, was facing off against Chris Statlander. She's even dressed like Chris Statlander. It's quite adorable.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. And he yelled at her from the ring to shut up because she kept cheering, and she started crying.
Oh, no.
And everybody in the audience cheered her on, tried to get her back, and then she just goes, "I hate you, Josh Briggs," and everyone just goes, "Yeah!" The whole people started chanting, "We hate Briggs, we hate Briggs," and she got a smile on her face again. But it was so she's back, this 5-year-old, and Alex Reynolds is staring at her because I guess they remembered who she is, who this little girl is.
Yeah.
And he's staring her down, and the girl's like looking at her mom, looking back, and the mom gives Alex Reynolds the finger.
Oh, jeez.
Right?
Right.
And so she kind of like elbows the daughter, and then the daughter looks at the wrestler, looks at her mom, looks back at the wrestler, and she hesitantly gives him the finger, and then when everybody cheers, "Yeah!" she just proudly presents it like as high as she could right in front of him, and then yes, gives the wrestler the finger. I have a picture.
Oh, classic.
I have a picture. I should send you the
Wow.
picture, actually, because it's really
You
good.
should.
I'll do it right now.
Yeah.
Do it right now in real time.
Oh, funny.
Let me get it.
I gotta see this.
Where are you? There it is.
Uh,
Sending. Yeah, so that like set the tone for the entire night. Or entire day.
sure.
It's great, right?
That is funny.
Yeah, I posted it on my Twitter and everything. It was great.
She's probably out, Mom, can I do that?
Well, yeah, she was like, "Am I gonna get in trouble?"
Right?
She was making that face, looking back and forth. It was great. So they have a good match. Alex Reynolds. Well, this guy named VSK comes out to interfere, and while the ref is distracted, Alex Reynolds, we thought, grabbed a fistful of sand. Well, he actually lit the sand on fire and created a fireball
Whoa.
in her face, then she got rolled up and lost. So everyone was really angry, and it looks like she's about to get beaten down by these two dudes, right?
Yeah.
And then the big metal music of Nick Gage hits, and this tag team of Nick Gage and Thomas Santel. Santel's characters, he looks like Marty McFly from Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big nerd.
Mm-hmm.
So they come out and save her. They're going to be actually a triple team, a trios team at Chikara, another event I'm going to, coming up here pretty soon. So there was some story going there. And then, so they chase the bad guys off, the two guys. And then they start looking behind me, because my back's to the ocean, and they start yelling profanity. Like, "What do you motherfuckers want?" And we're like, "Who are they talking to?" We all everybody in the audience, or at least on my side, turn around.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, "Who the hell are they looking at?" And then there's the Cajun Crawdad and Murloc, aka the Creatures of the Deep, out from the ocean.
Are they dressed appropriately too?
Well, they look like sea creatures.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's their whole thing. And out from the deep, they're here to take them on. Because, again, it's telling a story of the Chikara event that's coming up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was really cool. Everyone popped really hard. It
fun.
was yeah, and that was just the first 15, 20 minutes of it all.
Yeah.
So you're like, this is wrestling.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, I really missed something then.
Oh, yeah. The show just kept getting better and better with what they were trying to tell us. So Santel and Gage kicked the shit out of them. They win easily. Next match was Casanova defeats a guy named Alex Zane. These two guys are big up-and-comers. This was a fun match. Eric Stevens defeats KTB. It was okay. Eric Stevens is a guy who was in retirement for 10 years due to injury, and now he's back again. Then there was a 6-man tag, two teams of 3 against each other. One is Shark Boy and Team Sea Stars.
Well,
they take on
for the area.
Oh, it was heavily appropriate. Shark Boy is a veteran of years past, and his gimmick is he's a shark, right? But he's old now, so he's got a big gut underneath his costume. Okay. So they take on the team of Anthony Green and the Platinum Honeys. And so Anthony Green and the Platinum Honeys are dressed up like people from Baywatch.
Okay.
Yeah. Their whole gimmick is Anthony's green name is the Retrosexual. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's all about calling on things of the past. Retro, right? Very appropriate for this podcast. So they're all doing Baywatch stuff against the C team, let's call them.
Okay.
There was even "I'll save you," and he starts running really slow in the ring towards a person. The highlight of this match was the two Sea Stars girls take the Platinum Honeys out of the ring, and they just go. They did a couple moves, and they go, "We're gonna throw them in the ocean," So they drag him all the way down the beach by the hair, and they give him fisherman suplexes in the water, and then triple team Anthony Green in the ring to win. Really fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then the rest of the show was just straight wrestling. No, like, comedy and fun was the first half, and then the second half was like all wrestling, all business kind of deal. So it gave you, and that was the intermission as well, right? There's intermission, which is fantastic. I love it because you're at like a 3-4 hour show. Halfway through, you go and refresh your drinks. You're not missing anything. Get to relax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is someone mowing the lawn at like 5 o'clock at night?
Well, so side note. So my lawn guy decided to get a job, and so.
But his job was mowing your lawn.
Well, apparently he
got a
wasn't
different
doing
job.
very well at it. It wasn't becoming lucrative, and and being down here, it's pretty hot. So he decided to take another job, and I said, well, what is it? Well, air conditioning and heating.
Oh, okay. He moves from the grass to the air.
Yeah, I'm like, well, okay,
All right.
but good for him. So Joey, the neighbor, has to mow his own yard.
Ah. Okay. Well, forgive the noise, people. So just right quick, what went down for the rest of the show was Kimberly defeats John Silver. I end up buying him a shot later, and that's when I got my fishbowl.
Yeah.
They gave me the fishbowl with like 2 shots on the side, and he was hanging out at the bar, and I just go, Mr. Silver, you want this? I won't be able to drink this second one unless I'm not driving home. And he goes, sure. So we did a shot together.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
What
and
was
I bought
the
him
shot? Tequila?
No, it was like some fruity thing.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, it was like I wasn't feeling one of them, let alone 2 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kimberly defeats
him.
him. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, I wouldn't have driven home. That was the thing. That would have been the problem. Kimberly beats him by cheating. Then there was the independent wrestling title. Warhorse Jake Parnell won his match. Team Tremendous defeats Bear Country.
I like Beer Country better.
Yeah, there's the Freudian slip for me. Chris Dickinson defeats Ken Doane. Really cool spot where he chucks the manager over his shoulders outside the ring onto the 2 guys.
Nice.
That was on the outside. That was cool. He lays out a challenge, and Wheeler Yuta, who just lost the match earlier against Warhorse. So it looks like they're going to have a match at episode 1 of Uncharted Territory, which starts next Thursday, which I'm going to. I got season tickets to that.
So, so the guys that were in Beyond Wrestling, and then you're going to have another one, Uncharted Territory.
That's the name of the show that they're running weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do these guys also, are they in MLW at all, or this is their own little thing for Beyond Wrestling? They have their own company, and then you have Uncharted Wrestling. And
so Beyond Wrestling, like, they're all different companies, but the wrestlers are generally independent contractors, so they get contracts or bookings for different promotions to wrestle for.
Okay. So
some
they
guys
have to have a promoter,
right? Yeah, basically,
to find the gigs. Yeah.
Yeah. The main event was Josh Briggs taking on Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, in his final match of independent wrestling before he goes on to AEW. So we'll be seeing him.
Cool.
This one was really fun. Okay, so MJF is the biggest heel you've ever seen, like Ric Flair type talking ability.
He's what?
He's like Ric Flair in the ring with how he talks and what he does and makes fun of people.
Well, I don't think Ric Flair made fun of people, did he?
Oh, the other wrestlers? Absolutely. He doesn't have the mannerisms, but when you see him on AEW, you'll get exactly what I what I mean
Okay.
here.
All right.
So he had his final match on the Independents before going to AEW, and he lost. And then afterwards, it was requested that everyone put their phones away and everything, because he's a bad guy and he doesn't want to like ruin his image. He cut a very like thank you type promo that the reason why he is a bad guy in wrestling is because he was bullied in school a lot, kind of situation. And
This is MJF.
yeah, and it's kind of like his inspiration of his character that he plays. That
Okay.
he wants to be the bully and be the best bully he can, so he could like have fans hate him and want to see him get beaten up in him. Like, you know, you the fan get the satisfaction of seeing the good guy win, right?
Okay.
Because he's such a bad guy that you want to see him lose.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very.
And he
it's-
doesn't
it's-
lose?
Well, he does lose sometimes.
Okay.
He doesn't lose all the time, otherwise you won't be able to hate him more when he wins, kind of situation.
Gotcha.
So that was cool. No video evidence of it that I know of, but I can recall what I saw, and it was very nice.
So was he in Beyond Wrestling? No.
Yeah, he basically started in Beyond Wrestling, and he's only like 23.
Oh.
Yeah, very young. All right, let's. So that was really fun. I hope they do something at the beach in the future. We'll see. Uncharted Territory starts next week. I got a couple members of my bowling team coming with me. All right, Mom. So hopefully the technical difficulties are over.
Hopefully.
There was quite a bit of that for the Beyond segment. But yeah, I hope I'm looking forward to Uncharted Territory going forward through the year. Every Thursday night, it's going to be my new thing. And I hope Beyond does more interesting venues like that in the future. Especially the beach. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, you can't do that in the wintertime, so.
No! Not in the winter. Although an ice-themed thing would be pretty cool.
Yeah, no one would attend because it'd be too freaking cold.
They did the Halloween one last year. That was a lot of fun.
I bet that was chilly.
Yeah. But there's going to be a Thanksgiving one that you're going to be here for.
Oh?
Yeah. You'll be going to an episode of Uncharted Territory
Oh.
coming up in November. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where's it going to be?
Same place. It's the same venue each time.
I know,
It's
but
in
where is it?
It's in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Oh.
Worcester. It's like in 45, 50 minutes north of me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all.
Okay. Cool. What day is that going to be on?
Thursday night. Every Thursday night.
Oh. At that location.
Yes.
But what's the location other than the city,
It's called the White Eagle.
the White Eagle?
Yeah.
Now, is that like a, what do I want to
So it's a nice pub, bar, restaurant hybrid on the bottom, and then it has a big upper level, like a banquet hall that
Oh.
it takes place in.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope the building's not old.
Wait, you're afraid people fall through it?
Well, yeah.
Shit that they do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was some stuff in Uncharted Territory Season 1 that if they didn't go through the floor then, I think we'll be good this time. All right. So let me
Okay.
play the music and we can get started on MLW finally.
All right.
All right. All right, that was the music of MLW Fusion. So why are we recording so late? You want to tell everybody why it took you so long to watch MLW?
No.
No, you went to Delaware on a vacation.
I did.
That's what you can say.
Okay,
Why is
I
that?
went to.
Why?
Well, it took forever to get there. and I'm exhausted just thinking about it. What can I say? 6 hours to get over to the East Coast from was the Amelia, Superstorm Amelia that devastated part of Texas over here. What's sad about that is that the people that had just gotten in their homes in some of the areas that got flooded from 2 years ago, Harvey.
Yeah.
They
got flooded out again.
They got flooded out again, you know.
Jesus.
And, you know, there's some just we're just such a cement city that there's no we don't get just a simple rain, we get a major rain.
Yeah, cement city on a swamp.
Yeah.
It's a bad combination.
There's just nowhere for the water to go. And anyways, it took me 6 hours to get out of Houston to get to Delaware, so I lost an entire day getting to Delaware, and then I end up coming back on Sunday, and I get a rain delay again. Well, so getting back here, we were supposed to do it on Monday, couldn't do it. I was exhausted. I don't blame you. Didn't get to sleep till 5 a.m, and then I was like, oh my God. It was a bad Monday. So, on top of I didn't have, I had forgotten my tablet. Yes, I could have watched it on my little phone, but I didn't. I chose not to, and I was busy. And by the time I got back to where I was staying, I just wanted to watch a little TV and crash.
Sure, I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, so it took me 3 additional days to watch what I needed to watch. So we're going to talk about War Chamber.
Well, first we're going to talk about episode 74, the last episode before War Chamber.
Right. Yeah. So, started out with Jordan Oliver, young, dumb, out for blood.
Hold your horses.
What?
Don't you remember Conan getting jumped by Promociones Dorado to start the show off? He's the guy with the phone who's threatening the woman with a hand grenade of
right.
horrible or something or sexual pictures or whatever it is that's on the phone. So she has all her goons, L.A. Park, Hio, Bestia, Say. Selena gets her phone
away.
Well, no, it's her phone that he had.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, revenge.
Yeah, I didn't get that part. I didn't get it, so that's why I missed it.
That's been going on for weeks now. But anyways, it does beg the question why she just didn't have her boys jump him from the start to get her phone back.
Well, it's like anything, then it wouldn't have been fun.
Then it wouldn't have been the journey of revenge porn.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think's going to happen next with the whole phone thing? Do you think he made like a copy of all the photos and stuff on it?
Well, isn't that what everyone would do?
Oh, of course. You have evidence. You got to make copies just in case, right?
Yeah. So, you can blackmail and do whatever you want.
Yeah,
if you want my copy, and then you've got a copy of the copy.
Yeah.
So this could go on for years.
It could go on forever, exactly. Oh, well, it's wrestling, so it'd be like, I challenge you to a match or something. My faction versus yours situation. Winner take all. Then they sign it. Anyways, Jordan Oliver, your boy, he's back. Your man.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I was gonna like those guys.
Injustice.
Yeah, but they're just stupid. And he's young, dumb, and they're just stupid.
He did say that.
They're nasty. yeah, I'm young and I'm dumb and I'm out for blood. Who would admit they're young and dumb unless
A
they're
young and dumb person.
Yeah, exactly. Who does that unless you're young and dumb? Only young and dumb would say I'm young and dumb.
So your excitement for Jordan Oliver lasted 1 week.
Yeah, pretty much. He's got a long way to go. He's only 19. He's weak in his moves. He's a baby. I think all of them are just they play for
hi,
the
kitty.
I know. God. They play that they have no justice, or everything about them has been unjust, and see, the cat even agrees.
The rain outside my window, the technical difficulties, and the cat meowing. All we're missing is the silver spoon and the man on the moon.
Oh Lord. Well,
I
anyway.
agree with you wholeheartedly. Basic match, not very good, I thought. There was the whole fake injury to distract the ref move, while Jordan Oliver's buddy attacks from the outside via chair shot, roll up, we're done here situation.
Yeah. And with the cheap shot and the steel chair. Was that
Basic
them?
stuff.
Yeah.
Basic stuff.
Yeah.
All right, my turn. Low key, yes, Kitty, my turn. Can't have yours. Low key is the best option against Contra Unit. This is the guy with the really low voice, and he's super serious.
Right.
Yeah. So Mr. Serious says basically, whatever the outcome may be, gentlemen, I'm your best option, because he's the fourth guy in the War Chamber that we're about to talk about soon. And then we had our second match of the night. What was it,
With
mother?
Brian Pillman.
Brian
Jr.
Pillman Jr.
versus Richard Holiday.
Yes, a Beyond
From
Wrestling guy, I might add.
Connecticcut. And what? Oh, Beyond Wrestling guy?
Yeah.
Richard Holiday?
Richard Holiday. People make fun of him.
Wasn't he a world tag team champ also?
He is part of the tag. He is a tag team champ in MLW. That is correct. With MJF.
Uh-huh. And, yeah.
So Brian Pillman Jr. is the son of, I know, shocking, Brian Pillman, whom was part of the Hart Foundation in Bret Hart's faction.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
You might remember Brian Pillman. He was the kind of crazy-eyed, curly-haired dude of the bunch. Maybe not. I know you remember Jim Anvil Neidhart.
Yeah.
He's the same group. British Bulldog, all those guys.
Well, I'm going to have to look him up then.
Mm-hmm. What'd you think of the match?
Let's see. That trophy was pathetic.
It was Rookie of the Year trophy, mother.
I know, it was so little.
What, the Rookie of the Year deserves a big trophy? He's very proud of his Rookie of the Year trophy. You can't take that away from him.
I know he is. I know he was. But I just got a kick out of it. I think you had bigger trophies, honestly.
Oh, from bowling? Well, I know I did.
Well, yeah, you got a giant one. No, I'm just, even in baseball, it looked like the size of, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny.
I think that's kind of the joke, too, of why it's so small. And
I think so.
And he acts like it's a heavyweight title.
Yeah. And when Holiday was on Pillman and rubbing his face in the mat, that had to hurt.
Yeah, how could he? What a mean move to do.
Huh?
What a mean move.
I didn't hear you, JD.
You can't hear me again?
I didn't hear you.
Oh, this is horrid. It was a mean move by Richard Holiday.
Yeah, it was really mean. And I'm like, ouch. And then Holiday with the sharpshooter, and, like, but I did like the ending of it, if we're going there.
Yeah, go there.
Because
what happened?
When Pillman threw the trophy at him, and then he gives him the low nut shot for the win.
You like that?
That was pretty funny.
So you like Brian Pillman? Funny. You like that?
I like that.
So it's called
after he got the face in the mat thing, what an ass. So I'm all about revenge.
I do like Richard Holiday's wordage that he uses. He calls all the fans consumers. Because he's he's very marketable, and he's kind of like this half promoter, half wrestler thing. I do like it. It's very makes you want to boo him. It makes you happy to see him get punched in the nuts, you might say.
There you go. See, that's what I like.
Mance Warner promo.
It still was entertaining, though. I mean, you had some. Good,
it was a good match. It was a good match. I really liked it.
I did enjoy that one.
I do like seeing the good guy be smart for a change, rather than, say, Gringo Loco earlier, with the bad guys just hitting him with the chair off a simple ref distraction. Yeah.
Right. And that's why I don't like them. I just think they're dirty, they're nasty, and whatever injustice they get, they deserve it.
Well, I think they're playing the gimmick correct then, if you're happy.
Yes, they are.
But as you said, they got a long way to go.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Mance Warner promo after being in jail. You remember the mugshots, the goofy mugshots from the previous week. He gives some thoughts over Jimmy Havoc, whom we will see eventually, and I really like his promos, his talking ability. He goes, "Old Mancer's I gotta do a southern accent because he's the Southern Psycho after all. Old Mancer's mine because he's already not right in the head. Mancer couldn't drink and think in that cage, so he was clear-minded when coming up with a game plan to mess Havoc up piece by piece," he says. "The Southern Psycho Old Mancer is coming to fuck you up, Jimmy Havoc." He couldn't think and drink. He couldn't drink and think. I like that. It's good. It's almost like he's being himself.
Right.
I'm very excited to get what you think of Mance Warner when you actually see him wrestle. What'd you think of his little speech here?
I like it. He's it's a good promo. It brings out what wrestling's about for me, anyways. Bring it on.
Bring it on, man. Bring it on, brother.
Make it happen.
And then we got our last match, and this is interesting. So let me just lay out, because this probably made little sense to you. Alexander Hammerstone went to Japan for one of the companies over there called Noah.
Right.
Because MLW and Noah now have a partnership. So he went over there to compete in a big tournament that Noah holds. It's called the N1, Noah's number one tournament. Get it? So he's facing...
And actually, that's one of where they had that event is where they have their sumo wrestling in Japan. They have a lot of big sumo wrestling at that location.
Yes, correct. Mm-hmm. Look at you paying attention.
Well, I recognize it from something that I was watching.
Oh.
And I go, I know that place.
So Hammerstone faced off against a guy named Go Shiozaki. He's a veteran of Noah.
Okay.
So this was a very Japanese audience, as in Japan.
It was the strangest show ever.
Okay, so do tell.
Well, it was because, and the announcers were making a comment about how polite they are, and you don't have the interaction of the audience as you do in America.
Well, it's not the same, is how
No.
I'd better describe it.
And I think it kind of feeling of wrestling
Mm-hmm.
there. Because there's no energy. It's a different energy.
Different energy.
It's like they
That's a
should
good
be
way to
doing
describe
taekwondo and everything slow, and they were kind of doing that on the mats, and it was just odd. I didn't care for it.
It's definitely odd the first time you see it. The more you are exposed to something different, obviously the more you get used to it, and then hopefully in the direction of you start picking out what's good about it, what's not good about it. Why do you think all these Japanese people are into it in the same way? Because there were points in this match. Hopefully you caught this as well, where Hammerstone, for example, attempted to dishonor Shiozaki by trying to end the match using a burning hammer move. So the guy was on his shoulders, kind of upside down, torture rack Lex Luger style, and he was going to slam him down on the mat, which is the move that Shiozaki's mentor uses.
Hang on a second. I'm gonna do something again.
More technical difficulty. Sorry about this, audience.
All right, okay, let me try that again.
Okay. Are you back? Are you back, Duna?
Yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. So, Hammerstone tried to dishonor Shiozaki by using the move of his mentor, and you could actually hear the audience audibly boo and gasp in kind of this soft disgust of it all. And then when Shiozaki escapes the move, they all kind of went, oh, yeah, like situation. And then they started, clapping in unison kind of situations. Very Japanese, right? Because you don't hear the, in America, you get a lot of the baiting from audience, a lot of swearing, a lot of kick his ass, or, the same baseball chants over and over. This is awesome situation.
It's a different energy.
So that's something you have to... But the match ends with Shiozaki going for the big clothesline, rope to rope back and forth, and he gets hit with the huge blackout knee, the jumping knee strike, and the dude just power bombs the hell out of him. Match isn't over there, but he hits his big move called the Nightmare Pendulum to actually win the match. I'm kind of with you. I thought it was a little bit on the slower side. I'm not the biggest Shiozaki fan, but I do appreciate kind of what he brings to the ring. It was interesting to see this presentation.
Well, and the other thing is if you've ever watched sumo wrestling, which I've only watched a few, it's that same energy. It's very movement specific, audience non-participation, very muted. I think it's more of a respect thing, perhaps, right?
I think you're absolutely right.
And so, because, sumo wrestling is centuries, million years old, right? And it has a high respect in the culture.
Absolutely.
And so I think bringing wrestling over there is very different. It's more physical, probably meaner in a sense compared to sumo wrestling, I think.
Sure.
So it's something that I don't think they're used to seeing, because of your sumo wrestling, and you're thinking, well, then it's wrestling, the word wrestling.
Well,
It's a different style of wrestling, but I think they're trying to keep some of that that feeling of sumo in there, and it's just, it makes this type of wrestling slower looking, because I'm not used to seeing that. I like to see action.
That is a Noah thing, with how you're describing the pacing of it all and the presentation.
Okay.
It's very, very, very good of you. Good on you for noticing such a thing. So what did you think of the show overall?
That show, or
that particular episode,
or okay. Well, I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was I was exposed to something new, which was the Noah thing. So that was different. And you said they're going to do that more often.
We're going to see more Japanese wrestlers more often.
Okay.
Because of the partnership. Whether we actually see matches from Japan, I'm not sure. Maybe not, because who knows? A lot of people aren't exposed to Japanese wrestling unless you physically seek it out, kind of situation. AEW has a lot of Japanese talent. A lot of people that wrestled in Japan. So you'll see a different type of wrestling in that sense. But no, you're right. Noah is much slower comparatively to a lot of
Alexander and what's his name?
Shiozaki.
Shizaki.
You can call him Go. Mr. Go.
Meet head to head kind of thing going. And they would like do the eye to eye, head to head, forehead to forehead.
Yeah.
I think that's something that sumo wrestlers also do they not?
To start out matches, yeah. Yeah, they look face to face. They're on their knuckles, ready to pounce situation. You see it a lot in like just face-offs, whether it's boxing or it's definitely a fighter's stance situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of different too. Yeah.
Wrestling's changed a lot in the past 20 years.
Yeah, it has. I got to get used to that bitch slapping stuff going on. That.
Wow.
Well, my God, they're all red because they've been bitch slapped.
Do like how you call it that. It will now be called the bitch slap from now on. Not the chop, the bitch slap. Because Ric Flair used to do the chops. The big chops.
But I think they're bitch slapping too much. Because it's really used a lot.
It's a big thing these days. I really like it because it brings more physicality to it, like actual physicality.
Well, and I'm used to more action, not bitch slapping. Sorry. I just yes, you can say that they, Ric Flair did it, or the other, but not like they do what I'm seeing today. I just don't remember that. Like that's the main their main thing. Instead
well, no one can punch anymore. It's almost like wrestling's evolved from the fake punch, making the fake punch look as real as possible.
Right.
To now you just do the bitch slap as hard as you can and be as intimidating that way. Well,
they do the bitch slap and then they do the elbow thing to the face.
Yeah, the forearm to the neck and face is a big Japanese thing that started. Yeah. It's called strong style. And Europe does a variation of it, where it's the combination of the kind of more focused on the bitch slap than the forearms, but they'll do both. And it's now becoming a big kind of focus in America here. because it gets such a good reaction out of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. War Chamber.
Well, it got a reaction out of me.
Yeah, it certainly did. We'll just go through this really quick because honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say about the War Chamber. But you
see, I liked it.
I'm sure you. So I'll just get my thoughts.
I liked it sort of. And then the other part, I'm like, I thought I was watching MMA.
All right. So just right quick, Zelina De La Renta announced she comes out first. LA Park crashes the party, beats the shit out of this nobody in the ring. Zelina says he will cash in his title shot at the November 2nd pay-per-view against Jacob Fatu, the champion. So calling her shot, getting her man on top kind of situation. We had a squash match. Leo Breen Brian, whatever his name is.
Brian.
Yeah. Well, it's spelled like Brien. It's really weird.
Oh, I thought it was Brian. But okay.
Possibly.
Whatever. Semantics.
Either way, Leo of the Dirty Blonde squashes some no-name dude, Brandon Banks. So that ended, and then we got onto the War Chamber.
The 12-year-old.
Right. Yeah, child abuse.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. War Chamber time. The Von Erichs and Loki and Tom Lawler taking on Contrary Unit, Fatu, Ikaro Kwan, Simon Gotch, and Joseph Samael. So, I was pretty bored throughout the most of this, and I got very little reaction throughout the entire match. It was over 30 minutes long. It was really long. It basically ends with a Doomsday Iron Claw on Simon Gotch for the submission. And then at one point, Kevin Von Erich, he accompanied his sons to the ring. He got a big pop in Dallas. Big Dallas wrestling legend. He prevents a masked intruder from interfering in the match with the Iron Claw, and then nothing came of that. So I don't know if we'll ever go back to the masked intruder, or who that could be, or what role that's going to play. But it did serve as a pop for Kevin Von Erich to put on his Iron Claw. Your turn. What did you think of this entire show, the War Chamber itself, all that? Because you said you liked it.
Well, I was liking it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was, in the beginning when they were getting the guys into the ring to make it the 4-on-4. But I found it confusing.
Do tell.
So usually you have teams going, like 2-on-2, or you'd have somebody attacking somebody. There'd be teams going against somebody. And it was like more on one-on-one. And so it became confusing in the ring. And I thought it was kind of entertaining to see who was going after Lawler's ear. I was like,
the big cauliflower ear.
What is this? Tyson in the ring? What the hell is that? And so I'm not sure where the blood came from, where all that blood came from off of
Samael.
Yeah, Samael.
Yeah, Samael got busted open something fierce in this match.
But where? I missed it. And then I saw, it was like, I'm not sure that he actually got hit somewhere, because I saw it was, you ever see those fake blood balloon things? So it's like he got hit on the head and then somebody went pop on top of his head. So then it drained all over his face, because I didn't see where that happened, that he got all that blood. Where did that?
It kind of happened off camera.
Yeah. So where did that happen?
Well, he got hit with something, and that busted him open pretty bad.
But where did
he cut himself? He cut himself, and he cut himself too deep. He did what you call bladed.
Did he blade on the from getting onto the barbed wire.
I don't think it was from the barbed wire, but regardless, he did bleed some blood quite a lot, and he had the crimson mask heavily.
Yeah, it really detracted from the event.
You think so?
I
guess
did.
because he was the only one that had it happen to him, and you know why it happened, but you didn't see what happened.
Right, and I want to know. I want to know how it happened, where it happened, and and then after watching that, and then seeing the ear getting bit, and I'm just trying to follow somebody doing something fantastic. And I really didn't see a whole lot. I saw a lot of bitch slapping again, but
this was a case where they were. It seemed really out of place because the whole idea of the War Chamber is it's a fight, right? It's my team versus your team. The whole idea is to make someone quit, right? And they're busy chopping each other in the chest rather than, pulling the barbed wire from the top of the cage or, exposing turnbuckles and trying to make people bleed. It was lacking. Like you said, you were waiting for something fantastic to happen or trying to watch out for it, and it just never got there.
Right. It was ultimately lackluster. They built it up, and I honestly expected Contra to win.
Really?
I did. I really did. Because I just didn't see the Von Erichs as dominating.
It's funny you mention that, because the Von Erichs came out, well, at least Marshall Von Erich was the first one to enter, and he didn't get a big reaction. His dad sure did, because he's a legend.
Right.
I'm not sure if that was a good decision to bring in the legend. I think it really took away from his sons, who were being built up as big stars.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Marshall just didn't come across as the big deal, not like his dad did, and I generally don't like that. They weren't dominating in the match until the very last little spot where they won.
See, what they did at the end, I would have liked to seen more of that in the beginning, in the middle, and then and make it look like you're gonna win. That's why
there was no story being told. Like, if they were trying to go for the Iron Claw the whole time, just never been able to get it in, maybe one of them gets it in midway, but the other one wasn't able to lock his in, so that prevented the win. And then at the very end, they do this, where they do the Doomsday Iron Claw. They both got him in. The dad's outside. Maybe that's when the masked intruder tries to come into the ring, and the dad also puts his. So the three of them all have Iron Claws in.
Right.
That's a story. I didn't get any story from this at all, other than the fight itself, which was built up very well. That's why this was such a letdown for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I say, I was expecting Contra to win. I think they should have won.
I think that, I think the way this came across, I think Contra should have won. Jacob Fatu does a big backward moonsault from the top of the cage again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a callback to how he debuted in the first place, taking out Lawler by jumping off the top of the cage. You could have Lawler spit up fake blood everywhere, be like, oh, it's devastating, or he does it to both guys.
Right.
He is the champion after all. Make him look dominating.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yep. I liked it. Like I said, I liked it in the beginning, but then it became, I didn't like it that much.
Yeah,
and then I was disappointed.
So who is Mother's favorite wrestler over the two shows now? Because last time it was Jacob Fatu. Is he going 2 weeks in a row? 2 episodes in a row? Or do you have someone else now?
You know, I like I like Fatu.
You still like Fatu?
I do like him.
The big Samoan werewolf?
Yeah, I like him. I would like to see more action from him. I would like to see more. Well, I'd like to see more action from anybody, really. I'd like to see more pile drivers and, flying off the ropes and
you're going to
clotheslining. And
have you watched the latest episode yet from this past Monday?
no, I didn't.
Oh.
So I'm going to like it?
You're going to like that show.
Okay.
Yeah. Teddy Hart is back. MJF is there. There's a big
okay.
2 out of 3 falls match. Yeah. Teddy Hart he's a high flyer. A lot of pile drivers. So.
Well, see, and that was Bret the Hitman Hart and Owen Hart,
Yeah.
And I just think,
different kind of flying off the ropes back then.
well, well, I'm looking for I want to see action. I want to see more moves instead of all the slapping going on. I'm just I like the moving and groovings, not the slapping and whack whack whack. Oh, whack whack whack. Oh.
I'm looking forward to your thoughts over the next couple MLW shows and the first episode of AEW.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be exciting. I hope they do well. I really do.
I do as well.
I hope it's successful. I hope it puts WWE on notice.
Yeah, that's the spirit. It's a wrestling war again, after all.
Yeah, there you go. But
yeah, we gotta find a way to watch that together. We were looking into Hulu TV that has TNT, in some form or fashion. It is a 2-hour show, but because, well, we don't have cable because it's 2019. We won't watch commercials, so that's like...
We cut the cord.
We cut like 30, 40 minutes of the show right there.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that the truth?
So that'll be nice at least. So you're increasing your wrestling over 2 weeks to like 2 hours. Will you be able to keep up?
I'm hoping.
All right, Mom, it was good to have you back.
Hey, thanks for having me.
The audience
Enjoyed
will
it.
hear from you again in a couple weeks.
Perfect.
Alrighty, Manami Toyota, really getting us going. All Japan Women's Classics from Puroso Dream and Samurai TV, Episode 3. Got some dates here. This classic show, was the Crush Gals Showcase. We start out in 1984, October 6th? Shit. It's either June 10th or October 6th. Whatever, it was many years ago. Decades ago. 3A Tag Team Championship. Crush Gals versus La Galactica and Lola Gonzalez. And those joining me for the first time, the Crush Gals is the tag team of Lioness Asuka and Chigusa Nagayo. So a lot like the previous title match that we witnessed in Episode 2. This was 2 out of 3 falls. The first fall happens rather quickly. Chigusa gets stiffed in her nose quite hard after a quick Asuka rundown. Chigusa tags in for a high-angle belly-to-belly for the pin. That was pin 1. La Galactica and company with Gokumanto just to go nuts with interference to all the crowd's hatred. Super hot with just hot fire wanting the Crush Gals to make their comeback. Just screaming all the way. which is funny because we just got talking with my mom about MLW showing the match in Noah and how everyone's very quiet and respectful and will pop every now and again, and how that's their way. Well, shit. Couldn't tell me that's the same, because here in All Japan, women, they are screaming their heads off and hate the heels with all their might. And La Galactica really gets the heat. That is undeniable right now. So, after all the beatings from the seemingly 6-on-2 situation, La Galactica hits a top rope tombstone slam to win the second fall. The unfairness continues on with the third fall. Into the third fall with Gokumanto beating down Asuka on the outside while Chigusa gets beaten down by Galactica and Gonzalez. So fans are screaming. They're just pelting the ring with garbage, seemingly. Chigusa gets busted open, and now streamers are being thrown in as to go along with the garbage. Asuka got busted open crazy in the brawl outside at one point, so they're just bleeding crazily. Then they start making their comeback. Once the ref gets, I will use this as loosely as possible, control, because there is no such thing as control in All Japan Women, very much like Oz Academy. They bloody back their opponents, then they just run roughshod on them. Chigusa with her submission and kicks, Asuka with the best big swing ever, a big swing that would make Cesaro of today's age look like a small child, and how he just needs to get on her level. Asuka gets the win off an exploding back suplex. Cool move. Crazy match. Crowd adores this win. Awesome. Followed by a special singles match. It's Itsuki Yamazaki versus Yumi Ogura. Now, I am not familiar with either one of them. I do know Yamazaki. I know of her. Know she was part of the Jumping Bomb Angels, the famous tag team that wrestled in the first Survivor Series for WWF. Holy crap, where has Yamazaki been all my life? Fan-fucking-tastic in the ring. I loved her. This was a special singles enhancement match, is how I should claim it to be. She wins off a double arm suplex, ring comp style, into a cross-arm wrestling pin to keep her down on the mat. Yamazaki, simply enough, puts on a wrestling clinic against enhancement Yumi Ogura. Wasn't able to find much on Yumi Ogura. Maybe I'll keep seeing her in the future. So that was that show. Then it goes to another show from 1985, January 5th, Korakuen Hall. 3A Tag Team Championship. Crush Gals versus Gokuanto, Dump Matsumoto, and Rossi Moreno. So we're back here with Super Heels against our beloved Crush Gals. This was a hardcore match, as far as I could tell, since both parties were here to raise hell. The Crush Gals literally have straps in the ring ready to go. Quick fall, number 1 from the Crush Gals via falling reverse pile driver. Dump quickly gets the second fall using brass knuckles to the audience's total fury. Third fall goes to a double countout controversially as Asuka looked to barely beat the 20 counts, but the ref says no regardless. A hot, hardcore rivalry match. Fun. F-U-N fun. 1985, January 6th, so the very next day, still at Korakuen Hall. Crush Gals versus the Jumping Bomb Angels. Oh my god. Yes, it's Chigusa Nagayo, Lioness Asuka taking on Norio Tateno and Itsuka Yamazaki. This was simply a women's wrestling clinic. It holds up to this day better than any women's match I've seen. Fuck. I can compare them to more than half the women's matches I watched today. This is better. Even from an athletic standpoint, it's crazy how awesome that is. Yamazaki pins Chigusa in fall 1 with the reverse falling pile driver. So, little callback to what we just saw the day before. Second fall is won by Asuka via the assisted super backdrop. Third fall was a hot back and forth, ending with Yamazaki versus a Chigusa 1v1. I need this. I need a singles match of this immediately. So good. It's so good. I was wondering before this match started why Chigusa was more heavily cheered than Lioness Asuka. I totally see why now. got to this match. The singles exchange clearly shows the level Chigusa was at above Lioness Asuka. Lioness Asuka had her moments. She stuck to them. She knew her role. Chigusa had the total package at this point, and the crowd knows it, right? Yamazaki has that presence and poise to match that. I really want the singles match badly. Chigusa wins Fall 3 and retains the titles off of the Kento Miyahara package German suplex. This is a must-watch match for all, not just women's wrestling fans, but wrestling fans. Unless you're like my mom, who doesn't like women's wrestling at all. And speaking of women's wrestling, I got Stardom to talk about the 5-Star Grand Prix. Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, Mayu Iwatani, here we go. It is the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix. It rages on. It rolls on, if you will. Oh, everyone loves that wordage. This is getting us to the halfway point. Previous podcast, we discussed days 1 and 2 and day 3 day show. And now we're on to day 3 Osaka night, August 25th. Oh my god, it's on my fucking tablet. The notes. Ah! No! Oh. What have I done? Oh, I knew I put this day on my notes. I've totally forgot about it. Ah. Now I gotta bring it up. I was watching this particular Stardom show on my tablet here. And now I gotta bring it up. Oh, what a disaster. Bear with me. No, I'm not cutting this out. It's too good. Stardom, 5-Star, Grand Prix, Night 3, Osaka. So we got Tam Nakano versus Azumi. Tam flutters across the screen. I'm just going to read this verbatim, because I wrote this like a novel kind of situation. Tam flutters across the screen like a bird. Then she says she is a buttonfly instead of a butterfly. Take that for what you will. And says Azumi must get real good at her insect catching this summer. Very strange. I think the winds are getting to Tam Nakano's head. So these two put in a sprint match, very Azumi high-speed style. Tam's ability to wrestle her opponent's style, and any style rather than her own, is quite something. Very impressed. Tam wins via round kick to bridging German. Tam Nakano gets another win. Great showing from Azumi. Yet again. Then we had Hana Kimura versus the evil beansprout Saki Kashima. Well, Hana fights before the bell. Makes sense, before Saki can do her evil things to her. After a beautiful vertical suplex, a move Hana Kimura makes look effortlessly. There we go, got the word out. I can speak. Saki pulls her hair into the illegal revival pin to win in 8 seconds. Another shocking quit upset by the Yankee Devil, Saki Kashima. Jamie Hayter versus Natsuko Tora. Hayter's promo gives everyone deserving middle fingers about how she wouldn't win all her matches. This match was very just passable. Little bit of hardcore mixed in. Hayter continues to look good. She's looking more fit as the weeks go on. Wins off a suplex. Hiroshi Goroshi. Tora eats another loss, as she deserves. Mayu Iwatani versus Natsu Sumire. Recap to 1 year ago. Natsu tried locking Mayu outside the building to get a count-out win, but failed. I highly recommend that match. It was amazeballs. But she did end up failing. Natsu says this year is different. A day of fate. She is serious. Match goes pretty short into a flash pin on Mayu. As it turns out, Natsu has been researching Mayu for a year as she's cutting this promo. And we can assume she watched the Saki Mayu match because she won using the same damn pin, the revival. She revels in her win, and then Saki gets on the apron to complain about her using her move. Natsu claims she doesn't need permission to use a wrestling move, like Saki doesn't need permission for elbows and all those other moves that she uses. Makes sense. Then references Twitter, how this has all come up, and calls her a Yankee herself. I popped hard. I laughed. Oh my god! Ha ha ha. Natsu lays out the challenge for their 5-star singles match at Nitsutetsu Hall. I hope I pronounced that right. Her revival finisher versus Saki's. Glory awaits down the line. Anticipation is heavy. Utami Hayashishida versus Konami. Simple enough, solid. Konami wins off her triangle answer. Immediate tap out. First loss for Utami. There we go there. Then we get Bea Priestley versus our very own Jungle Kiona. Kiona wants her red belt connection, at least after starting the 5-star with 2 straight losses. Now, audience, listeners, remember her long history of beating champions to earn a title shot. She's very successful at that, but of course, always ends up losing in the title match itself. Hard power-driven match that ends with a B top rope double stomp to apron-bound Kiona. They break outside to the count. Kiona counters a blackout knee into an apron powerbomb, and she gets the count-out victory. There it is. As fate would have it, Bea Priestley loses, Jungle Kiona wins. And that was my only show I took notes on the tablet. Don't worry, that wasn't awkward at all in a live recording. No, I'm not cutting it out. I'll reiterate that. Day 4, Sendai, September 1st. Yes, we're at the end of September here. I gotta catch up on my 5-star, but I wanted to devote all the time possible because the 5-star deserves it. Mayu versus Avery. Avery pronounces pre with the X, so she says pricks, so you know she's a heel. A good outing from Avery. Her best match so far to show off her offense here. Mayu proved too much for her, as expected, wins off her gorgeous moonsault. Tam Nakano versus Momo Watanabe. Tam is in very happy-go-lucky moods while wearing a shirt that says Deathmatch on it. Momo references their Loser Leaves faction match from January 2018. Tam references their white belt match from January 2019. How did this encounter fare? Well, they did what felt to be a 15-minute match in 9 minutes. The story I took here was this was a strike battle, and whomever can get their key head kick in wins. And sure enough, Tam finally hits one, then a Rainmaker spin kick into her Tiger suplex to win. Momo slaps her hand away in frustration after the match. Momo's not in good graces. Tam's winning ways continues. Holy shit. I love it. So Tam went from a high-speed match to a kick-off against Momo. Is she not the most diverse worker in Stardom? I say it's hard to argue right now. She's sure proven it in the 5-star. Utami versus Jamie Hayter. Jamie remarks Utami as the mortal enemy in Stardom. They are 50-50 against each other, but she will be the one to ruin her. Classic heel versus face situation here. And even at that, an even bout. Hayter wins in the UK. Utami wins in Japan. Now they're in the tournament. Does give Utami a wet willy in this match. How dare she? Power move exchanges until Utami hits her spinning torture rack bomb for the win. So Jamie Hayter's losing ways in Japan to Utami continues. Does this set up now a match for the Eve title? Konami versus Arisa Hoshiki, a rematch of the Cinderella Tournament's finals from earlier this year that saw Arisa go over and then win the white belt. So Konami counters after counters Arisa's kicks, knee strikes throughout the match, using variations of stretch mufflers, slowing Arisa down. Now, where have we seen this before? The Jungle Kiona match, a variation of their first bout. Will Konami make the same mistake as she did prior, and Jungle Kiona prior to her at that, her faction leader? So this was, of course, to make the strikes weaker. Arisa does hit her 2 blackout knees in combo into her Brazilian kick, the very combo that won her the white belt in the first place and successfully defended over the summer. She goes for one more blackout knee, in which she went to the well too often, as did Kagetsu, to put Konami away, and paid for it, falling to the Triangle Lancer with the leg lock combo this time. Great match, 8 minutes. Konami wins. Ooh. So, this tells me 3 things immediately. Konami is going to be there on the final day. I still have my doubts, heavily doubts, that she's going to get into the finals, but now I have heavy doubts that Kagetsu and Arisa are going to be in the finals. Because I thought Arisa was just going to go on a tear here and go on and on and on, and maybe lose on the last day and not get to the finals to whoever beats her. Now I'm very much questioning that with this Konami win over her. That puts in some interesting tie-breaking situations. Kagetsu versus Andres Miyagi. This was a strange match. Kagetsu owns 90% of this match, with half of it as a grapple exchange. Then it was all Kagetsu, but loses after missing her 450. She gets tombstoned. Match over. Andres Miyagi wins. So now, this confirms my worry that Arisa and Kagetsu will not be in the finals. Will they be in contention to get into the finals? That can still happen. But now we're 4 days in, they've lost too many matches. I think it's safe to say that they're pushing somebody else here. I don't know who that is, because I still have my doubts over it being Konami. I think Utami is definitely that person beating Jamie Hayter, because Jamie Hayter was there to take losses off the bigger opponents. Who could it be? I don't know. It's day 4 brought in a lot of questions for me. Day 5, Shinkiba, September 7th. This is Red Stars block matches. Hazuki defeats Natsu Sumire in 4 minutes. They had a 90s 4-minute match, basically. Each hit their offense. Hazuki wins off a brainbuster. Totally down if this is officially her new finisher to go with the Okada roll. Hana Kimura defeats Avery in 6 minutes. Avery's having a small crisis, being stuck at 0, and the only one at that. But Hana is very cheerful as ever. Twinkle, twinkle, this is my 5-star. These two have a solid match. Avery's new best performance, so she's getting better. Hana wins with her octopus to bow and arrow lock, a sick finisher, I might add. So, Avery's looking better and better in the ring. She's getting better with the Japanese style. I sense a string of wins coming up, and she's going to be facing lower-end opponents down the line as well. Momo Watanabe defeats Azumi, so that moves Momo to 6 points. Azumi stays at 4. They go 10 minutes, 27 seconds. First time these two have faced off in a singles match together in 2 or 3 years. For someone who wasn't originally supposed to be in the 5-star at all, I am so happy Azumi is in it now. She has shined so much more than I was expecting, and this match was awesome. She was like 90s Rey Mysterio Jr. going here. And Momo played the Dean Malenko role, if I could be so bold. This was about high speed, kicks, and put a New Japan stank on it, right? Azumi hit her running springboard crossbody, the knee-breaking double stomp from across the ring, and even hit the big Mysterio pop-up electric chair Hurricane Rana flashpin moment. That got a big pop out of me. I thought she was going to win the match there. Momo hung in there, picked her spots, kicked very hard, wins off a crossface chicken wing. I love that she's using this as a submission finisher. This was, indeed, my best bout of the tournament right now. Followed by Konami Arisa, that match, and Hazuki Momo, the big hair-pulling grudge-type match. So those are my top 3 in that order. Kagetsu defeats Jamie Hayter in a 4-minute match. Very disappointing. Short and sweet. Epic green missed shot by Kagetsu on Jamie. 450 wins it. Jungle Kiona defeats Natsuko Tora. 837. Big time match here, funny enough. I know, because Natsuko Tora never wins. As she should not. She is not good enough. Okay. Kiona goes over her history with Tora. Over the last year, she has gone 0-2-1 against Tora, never winning. They have a brawl fitting of their history. Tora hangs her with her 5-star shawl and even takes her outside the venue and throws a bucket of water at her, going for the count-out win. Kiona does, in fact, beat the count-out, stops a spear, wins off the gut-wrench last ride powerbomb. As long as Tora has a brawl, then her matches are fine. I am fine with watching those. Don't have anything else or you end up with that Arisa match from the Osaka Day Show. Then we get a new contender for my top match. Mayu Iwatani taking on Tom Nakino, 11 minutes 14 seconds. Tom speaks in a riddle to continue her strange promos. Take that for what it's worth. She feels like this 5-star is like picking up pieces to a puzzle, and God has brought this moment to her. What puzzles will Tom Nakino pick up this time? And then we have Mayu giving a super airheaded promo, even more than usual. So airheaded to the point she spaces out and gets distracted, clearly by Saki Kashima. There was no other culprit in this matter. So this match, Tam goes to match Mayu kick for kick and flying crossbodies from the top to the floor. So here's Tam Nakano again, going with the opponent's style. So we've seen 3 matches from Tam Nakano, 3 totally different styles. Crazy. I'm marveling at it. The mid-match foreign exchange in particular was hot, hot, hot. Nakano looked to have the match won after dodging a top rope moonsault with a flash magic, but Mayu barely reverses that with an arm sweep. Something you don't see a lot of, I might add. 1 kick, 1 moonsault later, a mighty beauty of a moonsault at that, into a delayed dragon suplex. Mayu wins off that. Nakano has crushed it. What a turnaround compared to just last year. Then we get Arisa Hoshiki taking on Bea Priestley. Champion versus champion here. White belt versus red belt champion. Very exciting. And it was just that. Exciting. It was a lot of counters and misses. Fitting for 2 champions going against each other. Very defensive, right? The end sequence was each going for their blackout knees and hitting, but not their finishers. B hits a knee and goes to the corner for a long run blackout knee. Arisa then counters with a jumping Meteora that looked phenomenal, just gets so much air, and gets the flash pin win. I love it. Arisa says now that she's beaten Bea Priestley, she can use a move of Ospreay's, referencing a Twitter beef that they had. So the idea is now Ospreay is going to teach Arisa the Oz Cutter. Maybe that can be a better setup for her Brazilian kick. And then the next 2 days were pretty awesome. So that September 7th show is like my show of the year next to the Dragon Gate show. It was amazing. It was Stardom's best full card, bottom to top. Shinkabu, September 8th, day 6th. We're red block again. Here, Avery defeats Saki quickly, 4 minutes. Azumi defeats Hana Kimura, which I was not expecting, in a 7-minute match. That puts Hana and Azumi each at 6 points. So, don't know what's going on there. Jungle Kiona defeats Kagetsu. Kiona wins via the Kaniku Buster. This match was excellent. Jungle Kiona and Kagetsu, this was veteran versus veteran type stuff. This is a Stardom match. Highly recommend it. I don't know if I like it more than the Mayu Tam Nakano match. And I don't know if I like it more than the Momo Azumi match. I'm going to have to put that together, but those are definitely 1, 2, 3 in that order. Or not that order, but they are 1, 2, 3. I'll have to think about it. Arisa defeats Andres Miyagi. Hazuki defeats Mayu Iwatani. Hazuki and Mayu, I wish that was the main event of this show, because then they would have had more time. I felt like the Hazuki Mayu match was held back, I felt like there wasn't enough limb work for the two. 8 minutes was just too short for these two. But with Mayu pretty much sticking around and Hazuki being so young, they can build to an excellent singles match in the future. They didn't have to give it to me here. But Mayu and Hazuki are both at 6 points. Arisa and Andres, 6 points. So everyone's seemingly at 6 points of note. So day 7, Osaka Day, September 14th. This is the last one I'll be talking about. This is the halfway point. Hazuki defeats Avery, no shock there. Momo Watanabe defeats Natsu Sumire in less than 6 minutes, no shock there. Jamie Hayter defeats Konami in 7:45. So that moves Hazuki, Momo, and Jamie Hayter all to 8 points, and that sticks Miyagi, Kagetsu, yes, at 6. Anyways, Hayter's looking in much better shape, especially at this point. She's got her sprint back, she's got her speed back, she's still got her power. I just don't know where they're going. It's just very confusing. Everyone's just beating each other. It's hard to grasp a story here. Kagetsu defeats Bea Priestley, so gets her win back over the Red Belt champion, the one that beat her. 11:31. This was solid. Not much else to say there. Not as good as their title match. Not as much time devoted to it. So regardless, unfortunately, news came out. 2 things of news. Utami, during the September 8th show, came out and announced she broke her pinky finger and must drop out of the 5-star. She was very emotional about it all. It's a big bummer. And then Jungle Kiona announced she dislocated her shoulder. She's out of the 5-star as well. I believe that came in the match against Jamie Hayter, which I believe is the Osaka night show that I'll be watching here. So I will finish the final 4 nights and get all that ready for the next cast. I can talk about them in more detail. I want to give, this was one of my goals in 2019 for the Red Leaf Retrocast, was to give Stardom the proper coverage. I did cover it in 2018 when I first started this, but Stardom is a level that needs to be talked about. Not enough podcasts talk about it. Go and check out the No Particular Angle. They talk about it. I'm over with JPQ. We have our bet. Chikara, loser of the 5-star, loser of the Stardom bet, coming out of the 5-star, buys the drinks. I'm buying him drinks. I lost the bet on the last day of the 5-star. JPQ, if you're listening, congratulations. You win the bet. Came down to the wire. I'll buy you some beer. My wallet's ready. Moving on, boys. We got some Dub X Dub to talk about. VXV. Here we go. Bobby Guns. Bobby Guns. Bobby Guns. Where'd you drop, Bobby Guns? Guns? Eurobeat? There it is. No, that's not it. That's not the drop. Where's my Bobby Guns drop, guy? Oh. Where is it? Guns. Bobby Guns. Guns. Am I making my own drop here? Ah, fuck. Whatever. I'll play Walter's music. Volta. I will find that Bobby Guns drop at some point. I might even just play it for the Progress one when I do find it. Ugh. I gotta organize these drops better. I hope I didn't delete it. Oh, fuck, there it is. My god. I'm just looking right past it. Alright. WXW Fan, September 13th. Not a multi-day event this year. Our first match is Tennille Dashwood versus Amal Winchester. Just goes by Amal now. I don't like cutting last names out of wrestling names. They go 13 minutes and 16 seconds. A bit slow for the most part. Luckily, the final 2 minutes after the superplex spot was good and solid enough to bring me back in. Amal wins via a flash Champions Maker. Tim Thatcher cuts a fun promo, hyping up Hamburg homeboy Mula for the title match. Being home and so young in this business. That's a lot of pressure, Mueller. Can you handle it? Hamburg, are you ready? Quite like this. It was good. Pete Bouncer and Lucky Kid grudge match. The match never gets started. They brawl outside. Lucky Kid gets a hold of the nightstick that Bouncer got a hold of, but Kiev comes out to stop Lucky. Bouncer then leaps up to full Nelson catch Lucky Kid from behind. Kiev then deviously smiles, kicks him in the face. 2-on-1 beatdown with a nightstick and bat. Bouncer then gets in the face of Lucky Kid with the mic. He says, "You are all alone. Rise ist Gesicht." It's history. Crowd chants Schadenfreude loudly, but nobody shows. This is simple and sensible long-term storytelling here. I love it. Everything made sense, from the dissension in Rise and the coming of Schadenfreude, Lucky Kid's rise to the top, winning 16 Carat and then losing, Bouncer and Rise just having all of that issue in 2018 with Bad Bones Klinger leaving. So Rise is history. We'll see where they go. Avalanche defeats Emil Satochi in an 11-minute street fight match. I quite like this. The, I think, 10-year journey of Avalanche being essentially a tag team specialist. Gets his first singles title. I really enjoyed the street fight match. It was a good culmination of the feud. Emil Satochi was built up as a good heel. He didn't have the go-away heat with me. He just had the dick that made sense with all of his actions and his whole kind of angst persona that he had. He's, "I don't care, brah. I don't need this. I don't need you. I just want to feel pain." It was Raven-esque. It was good. So Avalanche is the champion. I did watch the Road to World Tag League defense of Avalanche versus Absolute Andy. It was good. Andy proclaimed his shot to the shotgun title because he wants to be the big Grand Slam champion in WXW. And he said he threw out Avalanche in the shortcut to the top match, the Rumble, if you will. And Avalanche accepts. It made total sense. Jay Skillett comes to the ring with Andy as kind of a groupie. Avalanche even references his midlife crisis. It's quite funny. They have a pretty decent match. Lots of comedy spots with Andy and Skillett. Caspin, I believe, is injured now, so it's curious what's going to be happening with Tag League. And they do this weird spot where Skillett's in the ring, and he has brass knuckles, and Andy rolls up Avalanche. Avalanche kicks out. Andy gets hit in. Supposedly, I think Caspin's brass knuckles accidentally hit Andy in the face, and then Avalanche gets him with the Vader Bomb for the win. I think that's what they were going for, but it just came off as Skillett didn't have the brass knuckles, and Andy just kind of got shoved in the corner and fell down. So it was pretty bad. Aussie Open, Fletcher and Davis defeat Dragunov and Walter in 16 minutes. A fucking awesome tag team match. It showcased everything that made Walter and Dragunov dick heels with Fletcher and Davis being the big babyface team. Schadenfreude is over AF in the Deutschland. Post-match, the new entrance of the team Purge Club hits, aka revamped Bouncer and Kiev, show up to take out Aussie Open with the bats and nightsticks in reference to the turn on Lucky Kid earlier. This makes sense. Aussie Open are the champions. Rise is dead. They use the weapons that were brought out earlier. And they got really cool, like, glowy neon masks to go with it. Purge Club, I think, is the favorite going into World Tag League now. And it came out at BOLA, Battle of LA. Fletcher and Davis were there. Davis apparently may have tore his ACL, so it's very possible we'll have vacant tag titles in both Rev Pro and WXW. And coming up on Chapter 95 for Progress, if they get the titles back, they might have to immediately just strip them, or get new, or Fletcher gets Lucky Kid or Chris Brooks as his new tag team partner. Who knows? Fatal 4-Way match. Faye Jackson defeats Holly Dead, Tony Storm, Valkyrie. Not a good match. It went 9 minutes. I don't like Faye Jackson. She is not someone that needs a singles push. Then we had the Unified World title match. Bobby Guns, the champion, defeats Hamburg homeboy Veit Muller in a 23-minute match. A weirdly good match. Bobby Guns is the Bremen guy. Veit Muller is Hamburg. And they have, the two cities have a huge rivalry. Bobby Guns cuts a promo about Hamburg is second league. Muller is second league. They don't deserve it. Bobby Guns even comes out in full-on Bremen stuff. Bremen football team shawl across his shoulder. And fucking great. The match wasn't anything spectacular. Muller needs to be carried, and depending on the level of the guy he's in the ring with, will bring out the best in him. So this was weirdly good. I rather enjoyed it. It was catch wrestling versus catch wrestling. It's a WXW match with two young talents going at it. Bobby Guns wins off a small package, of all things. The crowd is disgusted. Even I went, oh, don't do that. Veit Muller is young. He was essentially gifted this title match. You don't need to keep him strong, and Guns look weak winning off a small package. The crowd just ate this alive, as in, like, NWO WCW type hate. It was garbage. They threw trash in the ring. Luckily, what saved us a little bit is Guns is a massive heel. He rubs it in like he just pinned him clean with a move he planned, like it was all part of his plan the whole time. Nah, he wasn't going to lose. He eats it up alive. He eats the crowd's hate alive. Muller does the ring comp Respektierung thing where he sticks his hand out and Guns just slaps it away. Got big heat, so maybe it was enough to save it. It still leaves a sour taste in your mouth, but I do like Guns essentially turning heel due to this match. So WXW's next event is World Tag Team League. We'll see what happens with Purge Club and who the next contender is and all that. Let's move on to the Natural Progression series from Progress. And now I'm going to play Bobby Guns music. I'm going to play Bobby Guns music. I have to now. Natural Progression Series 6 of Progress Wrestling, September 14th. I'm only going to go over the matches I believe are worth checking out. It's like a 3.5 hour show. It's quite long. It's Progress's showcase of the biggest up-and-coming talent in Europe. At least that's the idea, is Europe. So these are all people you could see in Progress's main event in later this year, next year. OJMO defeats Veit Muller. Quite good. Wins off a half crab. And that plays into the whole Walter is the champion. Let's get people to worry about the guy who the champion picked. Danny Duggan defeats the OJMO, and the reason why I like this one was Danny Duggan joins DNR and wins the match in alignment with the heel group. So this is where Danny Duggan really won me over, because he was nothing. He was not on my radar. I didn't care about him prior to this. So they built up a big heel immediately in this Natural Progression series. My match of the tournament is Scotty Davis defeating Caro Noir in the semifinals. So that leaves the finals as Danny Duggan versus Scotty Davis. I was pretty much convinced that Scotty Davis was going to win. It was my prediction. I thought he was going to go against the OJMO in the finals. But I do like the booking. I do like the fact Danny Duggan turned heel, did everything he could to win. He answered the call of Do Not Resuscitate and creates a huge heel in the main event. The 6-man tag team street fight was pretty cool. It was LAX and Eddie Kingston taking on CCK. But because Kid Lycos is injured, Chris Brooks and Jonathan Gresham got Jordan Grace, Jonathan Gresham's wife, to be part of this match. So the intergender thing is picking up in progress, it seems. This was all right. Excuse me. Oh my god. Yeah, they played into the Dick Heel CCK storyline. And Team New York C over here made them eat their words. And we got our finals. Scotty Davis defeats Danny Duggan with Chuck Mambo and William Ever of DNR ringside. Davis overcomes the odds after a fantastic run-in from OJMO to chase off the Goon Squad. Very solid match. If this was WWE, Danny Duggan would have won, and Scotty Davis would have continued losing. But this is wrestling in the real world, not the WWE world, and the big babyface gets the big babyface win, and everyone goes home happy. Scotty Davis winning is the right decision. And his mustache is glorious. Just have to throw that out there. That moves on to New Japan. Here we go. God, I love that song. It's one of my favorite entrance musics. Not as good as Ring Cup, though. Classical music. New Japan Super J Cup. So just like with the Natural Progression series of this tournament, I'm just going to go over the matches I think are worth watching the most. It was a very good 3-day tournament. I wasn't too into day 2. I was very much more into a lot of the first round matches and the semifinal final. Sho defeats Taiji Ishimori, which shocked me heavily. Shock arrowed me, you might say. 17 minutes. Ishimori put over Sho so well. And Yo and Sho are the future of the junior division. And I think if New Japan's smart, they'll have them compete for both sets of tag titles. Continue, because that GOD match did get over. But keeping Sho and Yo as juniors really helps the division out. And Ishimori being the super vet, putting over Sho. And then this really told a good story of Ishimori wanting to just fuck over the baby faces for the rest of the tournament, helping out El Phantasmo and Bullet Club here. Amazing Red did an amazing match with Will Ospreay. He lost, but it went almost 30 minutes, 28-19. And they did everything they could to make Amazing Red look amazing. He's come out of retirement. Will Ospreay did some heel tactics because he was upset that the crowd was chanting of the veteran of days past over the champion himself. Go out of your way to watch this one. This was, in my opinion, the third best match of the Super J Cup. Yeah, third best. Day 2, the only one I really got into was Will Ospreay defeating Sho. So Ospreay defeats the guy who defeated Ishimori. That went 30 minutes. This was an endurance battle. Sho really got over in this one. And then day 3 was ungodly. Dragon Lee defeats Karistico in a Lucha Libre match of all Lucha Libre. Very much support it. It was better than anything I watched on the CMML anniversary show. And this was only 11 minutes. I really just couldn't get into... you can watch the CML 6th anniversary on YouTube for free. I'd recommend checking out the cage match card so you can see who's on it. It was just a lot of 2 out of 3 falls, a hair versus hair elimination cage match, which was strange. Dragon Lee Karistico lucha'd the hell out of each other. El Phantasmo defeats Will Ospreay in 11 minutes, cementing him gunning for the title, and Phantasmo getting over big, using heel tactics. Ishimori cost him the match. Great stuff there. Then we got the Bullet Club in a tag team match, the space match between the finals. White and Ishimori defeat LIJ's team of Bushi and Naito, 14 minutes, and this set up White Naito for the IC title going into the Destruction Tour so well that, you know, the cheeky Jay White not being what is it? He's not going to fall for the Destino. He just falls to the ground and smiles, low blows him. Oh, it's great. And then El Phantasmo defeats Dragon Lee in 25 minutes in the finals. The best spot of the match was easily when El Phantasmo has Dragon Lee on a table over a guardrail on the outside. He does a springboard double foot stomp, and upon landing, he busts himself open, something awful. He just has this red crimson mask on, and he came across as just a crazy psychotic villain that's willing to do anything it takes to win. And if that's not the essence of Bullet Club, I don't know what is. This was my favorite match of the tournament by far, and when you deliver that in the finals, I can't complain. Dragon Lee, this is funny. So I still have to finish watching Death Before Dishonor, Ring of Honor. I watched Roosh versus Matt Taven title match already. I'll just talk about that in the next cast. But Dragon Lee and Roosh have been fired from CMLL, so I hope we get Dragon Lee full-time in New Japan going forward now. Moving on to the Destruction and Kagoshima. I skipped the Beppo show. I was just not in the mood for that. Another Tanahashi Zack Sabre Jr. match. I'm sure it was good, but I've seen like 4 of them this year already. I'm burnt out for it. That is a good case of overexposure. Just like if there's another Ibushi Naito match, I'm not going to watch it. Bullet Club, Jay White and Yujiro take on LIJ, Evil, and Tetsuya Naito. The build of White Naito and this feud has been one of the most simple and one of the best all year. I loved it. Doesn't matter who won. IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team title match, 23-10. It's a Bullet Club, ELP, and Ishimori taking on the Birds of Prey of Chaos, Robbie Eagles and Will Ospreay. Great match, all high speed, all spots, all the time. It's exactly what you would think. Just crazy tag maneuvers. Ospreay and Eagles have just an insane amount of double team moves that come across as very athletic, very high moniker, and yet Bullet Club retained the titles. Then we have our IWGP Heavyweight title number 1 contendership match at the Dome. It's Kenta, the new never openweight champ, against Kota Ibushi. Kenta is a wonderful heel you love to hate, and Ibushi is the best babyface in all of wrestling right now. Kenta's dyed his hair blonde. He's just kicking harder. He's nonchalantly moving about the ring. There was so much interference, and much like the Jay White Ibushi G1 Finals, this is a great case of Ibushi's story overcoming all the odds of the dick heels. Whether it was Jay White, whether it was Ishimori coming out again. Ishimori is really bent on having baby faces lose, and he's only this was his first unsuccessful attempt. So that really makes Ibushi come across as very strong and a strong contender for Okada, assuming Okada does not lose the title before the Tokyo Dome. So Ibushi wins. Fucking awesome. I loved it. I love a good face heel matchup where it makes sense and you're not pissed off at the end of it all. Yeah. And then that will take us into Destruction in Kobe, September 22nd. Look, 8-man tag, the team of Tanahashi, Liger, Rocky Romero, Mask versus Suzuki-gun never gets started. Instead, after the story of Minoru Suzuki tearing at the mask of Liger to demask him and shame him, Liger, in this moment, has fury overcome him. He tears off his own mask, and you're like, what are you doing, Liger? And the painted, old, evil version, Kishin fucking Liger, makes his appearance. His third or fourth ever that he's done. It's his Great Muta-like personality come out. The god of demons, the demon god of Liger has come out. He gets a fucking, like, railroad spike, charges at Suzuki, who's light up against a table in the corner, just ducks the spike, and the spike goes through it, and Minoru Suzuki gets chased off. And Liger's just, even in the post-match promo, he's just attacking everybody. Well, in the ring, he missed Suzuki, missed the ref. He goes backstage. Suzuki's like, oh god, what's happening? Kishin Liger beats him up, and then he walks away, and he's laughing maniacally. Like he's so happy he brought out this demon in Liger. Oh, it's good. It's good storytelling. And that's a match for Kings of Pro Wrestling. Very excited. We continue with Bullet Club taking on Chaos. This was just fun. Phantasmo, Kenta, Ishimori, and the Guerrillas Destiny taking on Chaos. Sho, Yo, Ishii, Ospreay, and Yoshihashi. Well, the big moment here was Roppongi 3K guys pin Guerrillas Destiny to get their tag match, which I got to see, which I spoke of at the top of the show. Then we have Chaos versus LIJ. This is Okada and Eagles and Bushi taking on Ibushi taking on Bushi, Evil, and Sonata. What's worth talking about here is the big post-match stare down. Evil slapping Ibushi. And all while this is going on, Sonata is avoiding a series of dropkicks from Okada, because earlier in the match, Okada missed a dropkick. So now the story is he can't hit one. And I saw him not hit the dropkick against Sonata here in Boston. Or Lowell, to be exact. Then we just got the Haas match, worker of all Haas matches, beautiful beast match. Everyone should just go watch it. It's Goto beating Shingo Takagi in 20 minutes, 27 seconds. This essentially set up the number one contender match for the IC title. So who is the IC champion? Well, Tetsuya Naito is defending against Jay White. They go just under 30 minutes, 29:47. Breathe with the switchblade, everybody. Breathe. Just breathe. Oh, knives. Oh, knives. So good. Yeah, White just beats him clean. Naito's beltless. White said himself that he wants to be the first one to hold the heavyweight and the IC title. Favorite moment of this here was definitely the apron spot battle, where they're just going back and forth until the big hit comes. And then post-match, after the win, Jay White, rightfully so, rubs it in everyone's face. And Goto walks out, and Jay White's like, no, you're not supposed to be out here. He's raining down on his parade. Get out of here. I'm not fighting you. And then he goes post-match promo, and he just lists off everyone he has a winning record against. And the only people he'll fight are the people he doesn't have the winning record against. So he's a heel, but he's a fighting heel, and he wants to fight the rightful opponents, not Goto. But Goto does make reference to the fact that he beat him the last time they faced. So, New Japan looking good. Heading into Kings of Pro Wrestling. We got a stacked card, bottom to top on that show. That's going to be utterly fantastic to watch. New Japan just killed it yet again. And that'll get us into the final segment of the show, WCW. Here we go. Yes, and before I begin my WCW Road Wild 1998 review, haven't had any iTunes reviews coming in from anywhere lately. So if you enjoy this podcast, keep it alive, keep me happy, bring a smile to my beautiful, unshaven Saturday face. Oh, I don't even know what day it is. That's how much I need an iTunes review. My mind is going elsewhere. Go leave it at Red Leaf Retrocast, and I'll read it on the cast. WCW Road Wild, 1998, coming from Sturgis, South Dakota, the big biker rally. Cool set, has dudes on Harleys all the way up to the guardrails. It's a cool environment, something WCW did right time and time again. First match, Meng versus the Barbarian with Jimmy Hart. An okay match. It was just okay. Barbarian got real lost at one point, having no clue what to do after dragging Meng to the ropes, but not outside the ring. Anyways, Meng wins off a Tongan death grip and gets beaten up post-match by Jimmy Hart, Barbarian, and Hugh Morris until Hacksaw Jim Duggan comes and makes the save with his big stick of wood. Yeah, not much else to say there. At least this was built on Nitro properly, and the good guy wins. He gets beaten down for no reason, and the guy who he saved unintentionally saves him. So, not my first choice for an opening match, but they did it. Second match is a weird one. Disco Inferno and Alex Wright with Tokyo Magnum versus Public Enemy. Has to be something built up on Thunder. Or not at all. Standard tag match until Alex Wright gets a trash can, cracks Rocco Rock in the head, not a DQ. Then there's a beating until, for some reason, Public Enemy gets control. And that leads to Disco and Wright just leaving to the back. Ref's not counting them out. Tokyo Magnum's left on the ramp, staring off into space. He's just like, what's going on? Did they leave? Come back? I don't know. Well, Wright and Disco leave and they get a table. The ref now announces this as a street fight. So, sure. I wish commentary would be like, I hope the ref, since he's keeping this going, changes the rules. Anyways, Public Enemy then leaves. Takes Disco's words of having everything but the kitchen sink quite literally. They leave to the back and come back with some more plunder, including the kitchen sink. They hit each other with a bunch of shit until Public Enemy sets up a triple table, with Grunge climbing the scaffold that's ringside for the lights. Elbow drops Disco through the three tables quite sloppily. Public Enemy wins. Hooray. Triangle match. Raven, Saturn, Canyon, finally, after all spring and fucking summer, degrading the storyline that started hot is now culminating right here, right now. Lodi sign watch, boys. Sturgis is full of fat wives and losers. We hate Harleys, and biker chicks are fat. Good job, Lodi. Love you. Braver man than I. I wouldn't do that at the biggest biker rally in the world. The match makes no sense for the first few minutes, with weird combos and tag maneuvers from the various guys in the match. And yes, this is also a no DQ match under Raven's rules. So, you can understand why the crowd is less than thrilled to be a part of this. I get what they were trying to do with the story of the three each wanting to win and wants to take one guy out first and then they can do their 1v1. When it finally becomes a three-way, it actually got really good. When they stopped trying to tell this weird who's on whose side story, if there's a side at all. The end was Canyon trying a splash on Raven from a scaffold to the outside. So, the way this is set up is you have the floor, then you have a raised stage, then you have the ring on top of the raised stage. So, Canyon jumps off the scaffold onto that raised stage, knees first, which must have sucked, and then he falls all the way down to the floor, essentially taking him out of the match altogether. So it's a cool spot and pretty devastating to Canyon. And he missed because Lodi pulled Raven out of Canyon's way. Saturn on Raven, and then Horace comes out to save Raven. So we have more odds against the babyface. Lodi accidentally throws powder in Horace's face, because Horace always brings a stop sign with him. Misses Saturn, hits Horus. Horus then cracks Lodi with the stop sign, out of anger, I guess, because it's Lodi. He fucked up. You got to beat him up. Is the mentality. Horus turns around and goes after Saturn. Saturn pulls Raven in front of the stop sign shot, which is quite funny. It's just Horus is a bumbling fool. That is the flock. I'm okay with this. Big suplex from Saturn on Horus to take him out. DVD on Raven. Saturn wins. Okay then. Not bad. I liked it. I like the bumbling fools of the flock costing Raven. So Raven's still strong. He's still the leader. He's going to, he can kick the shit out of him. Canyon can still have his 1v1 against the Raven since he never got his revenge. And now Saturn's beaten Raven. So he can now move on and go after the TV title or something. So as of right now, in this moment, I am a satisfied WCW fan. The Plunder match was fine. It was hardcore. Whatever. It's just weird. It just came off as weird. Barbarian and Mang had as good as match as they're going to have. Fine. The story was there. Let's move on. Now they announce a number 1 contendership match for the Cruiserweight title. It's Psychosis versus Rey Mysterio Jr. By the way, just want to mention, haven't seen LA Park on WCW forever. Must be only filler on Thunder. But anyways, Psychosis played the power game. Mysterio pulling out Ultimo Dragon type moves here. This 14-minute match was a lot of fun to watch. Ends with Psychosis missing a running front dropkick, lariats himself on the ropes as he does. Mysterio does the springboard Hurricanrana pin and spikes Psychosis in the motion on the way over and wins the match. Fucking right, I loved it. WCW then shows us all kinds of views of the event, including a shot from a helicopter for some reason, so money well spent, I'm sure. And then we get... So right now, Road Wild, I don't hate. I quite like this show. Chavo Guerrero Jr. with his horse Pepe. Yes, he's Crazy Chavo. Versus Stevie Ray for the TV title. All right. Let's do a little history here. Let's go down memory lane. The last time Chavo and Stevie Ray met in the ring, this was before Chavo and Eddie had their 1v1 match. The hair versus hair match. Chavo faced Stevie right before that, shook his hand, and submitted right away. So if that's any indication of what's to come, here we go. As I may. Chavo has a typed up piece of paper and a notary stamp and claims he is now the TV champ, not Stevie Ray. Basically making fun of how Stevie Ray became the TV champ in the first place. I am somehow getting the strange feeling that perhaps WCW, due to Booker T being injured, simply is pushing Stevie Ray as a cheap replacement. Stevie Ray keeps no-selling Chavo's strikes as the match goes on. Chavo runs around the ring away from Stevie Ray. A lot, I might add. One kick and a slapjack, Stevie squashes Chavo. A waste of my time and now a waste of yours. Eddie comes out and saves Chavo from a post-match beatdown from Stevie Ray. Whatever, I guess. Alright, that's WCW, isn't it? They can't help themselves. But then we get a mixed segment. A segment I really enjoyed, but it does have its flaws. So Steiner Line time. It's brother versus brother. The story that was on and off since, hey, Spring Stampede. Sound familiar? Yeah, just like Canyon, Saturn, and company. Rick versus Dot Steiner. Here we go. But no, J.J. Dillon informs Rick that due to the chair shot Rick gave to Scott last week on Nitro, this match has been called off. So, not the place to do it at a pay-per-view where people have paid money to see this, right? The crowd fucking hates this. Oh God. I went, why couldn't you just do this next week on Nitro? Don't book this match for the pay-per-view. You know, you can have a storyline like, okay, it might be at the pay-per-view, and then all it would have taken was on Nitro after that chair shot you go, is Steiner okay? Is Scott gonna make it to Spring Stampede or Road Wild? And then you just don't have this segment here at Road Wild. You do it on Nitro to explain why the match didn't happen, and you have a different match at Road Wild that should have been built. Like, oh, I don't know, Bret Hart defending the U.S. Championship? There's an idea. Anyways, so that's the criticism of the segment. Now, the segment itself was fucking awesome. So J.J. Dillon informs Rick that due to the chair shot, Scott Steiner has been ruled unable to fight. So Scott Steiner gets rolled out on the stage by neck-braced, again, Buff Bagwell. Scott Steiner's on a full gurney with an IV, and he's all taped up like a mummy. He's taped up on his entire left side, his left arm. He's in a neck brace. He's got the IV in. He's got a oxygen mask over his face. It's fantastic. So Buff Bagwell is cutting this promo. Steiner, yeah. Buff asks Scott if he's okay, and he only gets mumbling back. It's super funny. J.J. Dillon informs the two and the audience that the contracts that they signed for this match do state that WCW reserves the right to reschedule the match within 45 days. At the next pay-per-view, Fall Brawl. So this is where the crowd just fucking loses it, right? They're so mad because you don't announce the match that was supposed to be the one you were going to for the next one, right? So Buff asks Scott if he will be ready by then, and he gets mumbles back again. Again, it's funny. JJ then tells them if they don't show up to Fall Brawl, Scott will be barred from wrestling for life. Scott hilariously leaps up like a zombie, like Undertaker, shocked face, leaps out of the gurney, all pissed off. The IV's still in him. He tears the mask off at least, and he's yelling. Rick Steiner immediately jumps out of the ring and runs up the ramp chasing after him. Scott Steiner turns tail and runs with the IV bag dragging behind him. I loved this. Not loving the continued procrastination of the feud, but super funny nonetheless. It grew on me. So, I know it's been procrastinated like way too much, and it's on and off, and I believe it was because of the Rick Steiner injury, and now they're trying to play it back, putting in Buff Bagwell. I get exactly what they're doing here. So, it's just kind of wrong timing, a lot of it all. Anyways, moving on. Brian Adams with Vincent versus Mongo McMichael. This match sucked and was boring. Shocker. Mongo Tombstone wins. So, we have a bad match and the bad Chavo match. Okay. Special ref Dean Malenko to the ring. Juventud Guerrero versus Cruiserweight Champion Chris Jericho. Jericho wears a glorious kimono to the ring and revs up the audience, making fun of their bikes. So, getting real heat. Honestly, he got the first real reaction from the crowd all night, actually. This match was fantastic. Each role was amazing. The match itself was solid, and the character work was awesome. Iceman not messing around was fair throughout, with a suspiciously slow count that even commentary got us to notice. He does do it for both men, but the story was good because it took a while to see Juvi's first pin attempt. I quite like that. It's a good touch. Malenko wasn't about the corner punches. He pulled the guys out because that's not how Malenko wrestles. You know, that's illegal. So Jericho gets frustrated with Malenko after he thought Juvi had tapped out to the Lion Tamer. Juvi accidentally knocks Malenko, so then Jericho takes advantage and hits Juvi with the title. Juvi kicks out. Jericho then gets Malenko back into the right mental state and slaps him real hard. Malenko does that whole quick head shake, looks at him real strong. Juvi kicks out of the belt shot, and then goes back to punches in the corner and puts Jericho up on the top sitting position and goes to give him the 10 strikes standing in the corner, but Malenko forcefully pulls him out again. So very good ring story here. Then Hoovy takes a charge at Malenko, and Malenko avoids it by throwing Hoovy over his head, backwards onto Jericho for a Frankensteiner off the top. Pin, win, new champ, amazing spot to build an end to in the match. It all made sense. Match of the night, easily. And I could already say that. It was fucking fantastic. Jericho tries to jump Malenko post-match. Malenko just beats him up, throws him out, gets him out of there. Great. Loved it. This is the WCW I like. This right here. I can accept a piss poor match with like Bryan Adams and Mongo McMichael. Just, skip that. Whatever. I can fully accept trying to do a comedy match with Chavo and Stevie Ray. It's just stupid. I hate it. I can accept them doing it. I just don't have to like it. NWO Battle Royal time. First guy out is Scott Hall, followed by NWO Hollywood, Giant, Hennig, Norton, and Hall. Hall does a survey. Oh, I'm sorry, Hall does a survey. NWO Wolfpack follows, Nash, Sting, Luger, Conan, and then Goldberg Music's hits. So yes, this is a 9-man Battle Royal with the only stakes seemingly being whomever throws out Goldberg gets a title shot. It's dumb. At least that's the way I assume, because otherwise there's nothing worth it, right? So it's Wolfpack versus NWO at first, then Giant grabs Goldberg only for a second. So Goldberg body drops Hall over the top, and then Nash immediately eliminates himself. He scoop slams Hall and then leaves. What? Ugh. And then throughout, Hennig seems to be giving Goldberg cues on what to do and when. So Luger and Norton are pretty much sticking to the same corner or going to another one every now and again and just kind of doing that whole, I'm going to throw you out kind of, legs in the ropes. They're not doing anything. Hennig sticks to Goldberg for the cues. Giant occasionally gets a shot at on Goldberg because that's kind of the story that telling there. Spear on Hennig throws him out, dumps out Sting and Norton at the same time. Spears Luger, Giant throws him out, chokeslam on Goldberg, and then he showboats. Goldberg sits up, Undertaker style, kind of shakes it off, no sells it. Spear, jackhammer, pin, it's over. And yes, it was the only pin in the Battle Royal where pins were an option. So, kind of boring Battle Royal with a lot of star power. It seemed pretty half-assed to put a Goldberg showcase in, I suppose. Wasn't the worst thing in the world. It was just really strange. Then we get our main event, a long, exaggerated entrance of main event, just like Bash at the Beach. Hogan and Bischoff with the Disciple versus DDP and Jay Leno. I spoke on the previous episode. DDP has to win this match. He has to, otherwise what's the point? Keep in mind, Nitro never replayed a single one of the Tonight Show angles. Nor has Leno made one appearance on Nitro before this main event. Only those stupid, horrid Bischoff Tonight Show segments. Fucking what? So I was not digging this match going into it. Match felt like it was in just slow motion all the way through the build to the Bischoff versus Leno hot tag. Leno's buddy Eubanks, who's on the outside, off a distraction, off a ref distraction, hits a diamond cutter on Bischoff. Leno gets the winning pin. Hey, DDP's team got the win, but not DDP. So, couldn't DDP just diamond cutter Bischoff and then pull Leno on him or something? I don't know. But this is WCW, so NWO does a post-match beatdown. Goldberg makes the save for seemingly no reason. I don't know what connection he has with any of that. He just beat up the entire NWO, both versions. But anyways, I suppose a happy ending. Didn't need the two beatdowns. Regardless, I didn't hate the show. I rather enjoyed most of it. Oh my god. There is some hope in the light. But alas, dear listeners, there are still many Nitros ahead until we finish off in, at the very least, I'm going through 1999. At the very least. I don't know if I have it in me where I can watch 2000 and 2001 Vince Russo train wreck WCW. I can't. I don't think I have it in me. I think I'd rather go back and watch, like, 90s and early 2010s New Japan big events. I think I'd rather do that. But that's ages away. So on to the wrestler spotlight. Or not the... Oh my god. Now on to the wrestler rankings. So just going through it real quick. 10, B. Priestley. 9, Mayu Iwatani. 8, Kagetsu. 7, Jungle Kiona. 6, Momo. 5, Utami. 4, Azumi. High up there. 3, Arisa. 2, Konami. 1, Tom Nakano. Yes, I think Konami has been the most consistent worker in the 5-star in this first half now. And Tom Nakano is the best. She's the MVP currently. Let's see how it throws out for the second half of Stardom. It's a lot of Stardom power. There's not a lot of women's wrestling going on outside of Stardom. I do have the Ice Ribbon event to watch for the next episode, so look forward to that. Get some more diversity other than just a bunch of Stardom people. Perhaps I can get a Sendai event in there or something. We'll see. So the men's is 15 Scotty Davis, 14 Go Shiozaki, 13 Hammerstone, 12 Karistoko, 11 Amazing Red, 10 OJMO, 9 Ibushi, 8 Naito, 7 Kenta, 6 Ospreay. Ospreay's back on the list with no Okada. Just when Okada was catching up. 5 Goto, 4 Shingo, 3 Jay White, 2 Dragon Lee, and 1 shouldn't come as any surprise, El Phantasmo. So yeah, those are the top wrestlers. Again, after the episode goes live, you can look at my Twitter for the updated top 10 men and women's rankings overall from 2019. Look forward to episode 41 with the debut of AEW going to be on that. And more MLW, more Progress Chapter 95 is going to be the huge one, and probably Kings of Pro Wrestling. So this was Retrocast, episode 40, Natural Progression, 5-star Super J fan. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next time.